the glorious, sunny Los Angeles, California, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Monday. That's right. It's October 6th on the eve of October 7th. It is Monday, News Day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday, October 6th, 2025. And we have an incredible show for you guys today. Okay? A lot going on in the world. Obviously, I'm back. It's 1 p.m., 1:19 p.m. Pacific time, and that's very late, as a matter of fact, especially considering that for the past week, I've been going live very early, around 9 a.m., sometimes 10 a.m. But this time, I'm live at 1 p.m. So you might be wondering, Hassan, what the hell, Leonte? Why is the schedule change? What's with the schedule change? What's with that? What's going on? And of course, the reason why there is a major shift in the schedule is because I just landed. I landed just literally 2 hours ago at this point. Like, I landed in the United States of America, and of course I'm going to tell you all about it because this is the part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news. And for people saying, aren't you exhausted? The answer is yes. Okay? The answer is yes. Of course I'm exhausted. I just got off of a continental flight. Not even continental, international flight, all the way from, I got off of like 12.
The album is...
What is this? They're memeing on Cutie Cinderella, 3.3 million views, 600,000 likes. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift and the Swifties because things are not looking too good for the Swifties right now. Swifties, get behind me. I will defend you. I know it's a troublesome time for all of you right now. But basically, folks, this is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news about what happened in the world of, in the universe of Hassan Hassan. I'll be Piker in between the time period where I pressed the stop streaming button and pressed the start streaming button. So help me God, that's what I'm going to do. Are you going to cover the Diddy stuff? No. I already have briefly, and that's the most I'll probably cover the Diddy stuff. Okay, so, why were you in France? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's a crazy question. Right as I started. It's not like I took a day off, by the way, so you guys don't even have a reason to be annoying, because, like, normally you are annoying when... Normally you're annoying when I'm not like live for a day and you miss me and you want to and you want to demonstrate that, and you get like, you just bait me a little bit, but today you have no reason for that. Okay. Cause I've been live. Okay. You weren't live during as convenient of a time frame. Okay. Folks, yesterday, as you guys know, a major event took place, and I live streamed that major event that took place. I live streamed the entire event. It was amazing. I had a fantastic time. I co-streamed it alongside Pokimane. We were the American broadcasters, and we were blessed and very fortunate to be able to do so. This was the French event. GP Explorer, which was the last GP Explorer, as a matter of fact. And I conveniently left France, and as soon as I did, the government collapsed. But that's something that we're going to be talking about in a second as well. So, I'm back from France as the PM resigns. Made it safely through CBP. All right. Personal news wise. Oh, by the way, thank you for the raid. I think Michael from Pennsylvania raided. Is that what happened? Shouts out to Central_Committee. Shouts out to Michael from Pennsylvania. Thank you for the raid. So Ended the broadcast yesterday at approximately 8 p.m. French time after the race ended. We'll obviously talk about the race and whatnot. But after that, I went back, broke down my setup, got in a car, and traveled immediately to Paris. Okay? Traveled immediately to Paris. And we checked into the hotel at like around 1 a.m. I ordered some bomb-ass Indian food from this Kashmir restaurant. It was so amazing. Had that quickly. Did not get a lick of sleep the entire night, which actually worked in my favor because of the time zone differences. Okay. Unc, you eating too much? You're going to get back to 285? Well, I mean, I didn't eat anything yesterday except for the Indian food. So had the food, didn't go to sleep, watched more Code Geass, did not sleep at all. Got in a car in the morning, got to the airport, talked to, okay, I had Kashmiri food, okay, but it was like buttered chicken and chicken tikka masala. But got in a car, talked to the legal team, the civil rights lawyers, just, get everything packed up, make sure that I'm like well protected if they try to take over my like devices or anything like that, if there's any sort of detainment, because it's like, talk through what my legal rights are, things of that nature, how to handle that situation. But got on the flight, and I felt like Jason Bourne the way I approached this flight. Okay, are you ready for this? I got on the flight. They hadn't even handed out the little towelettes that they give in business class. I brought my own eye mask from the previous flight. I had it in my pocket. I literally, boom, strapped it on, moved the chair a little bit, not so much that they'll like stop, not so much that they'll like come up to you and say like, hey, you have to move your seat up in the upright position, but enough so that like my back is not super tight. Okay. Put the thing on, put the headphones on, boom, passed out. Knocked the fuck out for like the first 6 hours of the flight. Okay. Woke up, watched a little bit of Code Geass, but it was awesome. No food on the flight, no nothing. Woke up, slammed a coffee or two, got out of the flight. LAX Customs and Border Patrol, a little worried. There were some Hasanabe heads on the line as well. They were also giving me a little bit of courage. They were like, don't worry, everything will be fine. It turns out everything was fine. They did pull aside at LAX, at least now. They straight up say like, oh, you don't even have to bring out your passport. So they have like the same kind of process they have in like France, the automatic biometric recognition process at entry. Except it's just an iPad. They don't even have like the gates or anything. They just like put up an iPad and they're like, here. Yeah, so boom, 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 walk through the biometrics. Me and March, I had to like unlock my phone, do a whole bunch of stuff because on the flight I like switched my phone to like a 12 character plus passcode, put it on airplane mode. It's already automatically encrypted, the new iPhone, so it doesn't matter if they actually take your shit. And hopefully, I mean, luckily we didn't have to do any of that this time around, but it's always good to do that. Hassan, you're causing a disturbance in the woman love woman community. What is this? Okay, we'll look at that in a second, but did all of that. It's good to be prepped. They still have some TSA agents in the back who checks on it because AI is ass and can't be relied on. Lamau, it's not TSA that checks in international travel. It's Customs and Border Patrol that checks in international travel. What is this? This shit got 1 million views. Glaze. Yeah, people seem to like my fit for the French stream. It seems like you guys enjoyed that fit, huh? I attribute my smooth entry into the country to my Dua Lipa shirt. I think it was Dua Lipa that was guiding me. Shouts out to Dua. Okay. Shouts out to Dua for that. I think she saved me. Anyway, but it's your hair. Yeah, it probably is. People do seem to like my hair not brushed in the front and just not like. But it's they seem to appreciate the hair when it's like parted somehow. In any case, 12-character password is not good enough. At least 20, man. Not joking. Dog, that's what the civil rights lawyer is saying. What do you want me to do? Your smooth entry is because we spent billions protecting us from radical Muslim terrorists? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It was a Guadalupana who protected you. I wasn't wearing the hat. I just put the hat on right now because I look like shit because I'm literally off the plane. I just this
We're gonna watch this
off the dome, off the plane, straight up. Anyway, let's look at some of these TikToks real quick, and then we'll move on to the news because I do at 3 I have to at 3 p.m. I have to do a panel at the Getty Museum that I was supposed to do in person, and I was supposed to actually film it. Like we were supposed to film it live, but they decided it would be maybe not super safe to do so. And I understood. So I'm actually tuning in from my home instead of doing it in person. But I am one of the participants of the panel. I also didn't know if I would be able to make it to the panel in general. But, oh yeah, the Macy's playlist. Thank you for that. We got a lot. I see a lot of blast off memes in here as well. U.S. citizens still detained by Israel. Gaza peace plan moves forward, question mark. Troop deployments and court blocks. Government still shut down. Liberal panel at 3 p.m. I didn't know who was on the panel until like literally this morning, by the way. But Ben Shapiro just released his interview with Bibi. He's so washed. He's so washed. I'm shocked that Bibi even went to him. Okay. GP3. Okay. Did you see what Austin is saying and doing in your house? No, but I assume it's annoying. I assume it's like he threw trash everywhere or something because a lot of people are saying. Someone's been a bad girl in my absence, by the way, and you can tell because she's like literally fucking crying. She's not used to place because while I was gone, she got to free roam like a cow the entire day. I don't know if she actually got a decent amount of workout this morning or not, but oh, okay. She did go to the park apparently, and she's still being a baby, it seems. No, we're not freeing her. She needs to get used to it. She needs to get used to the structure that she had in her life once again. Okay. What do you mean she's bad? She probably missed you. She did, but it doesn't matter. Brother, why are you live? What do you mean?
Podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast, Hassan, which I know you are.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
You don't think he even knows?
Lil Bro does not know your name.
You know what? You know what? That's so funny. He's not gonna listen to this. Fuck you, Hassan. Yeah, you're not gonna see this bitch. Yeah, you like? Huh? Oh, his signature.
Why is this his new move? Why is that his new move now? This is now his, as Will called it out, this is his signature move now. I don't understand. It's weird.
Yeah, you ain't gonna see this, Hassan, because you don't watch your own podcast. I'm in your house. Look at this. Oh, what?
I like this is diabolical, but also he does this all the time. He does this directly to my face as well. Like he will throw trash out looking directly at me. Okay, he will toss trash on the ground while we are shooting the podcast, looking at me directly in the eyes.
What you gonna do about it, Hassan? You ain't watching this shit. He ain't watching this podcast.
Damn.
He don't even know.
Yeah, let's burn his house down. I'm gonna burn it. And I already stole
Hassan, you
so
ain't
many
watching
things.
this? Look at this, Hassan. Yeah, you wish you had these, Hassan. Oh, man.
Oh, I'm really trying to be supportive, but you are just keep going.
He's out
I
of
tell you
control.
what.
Yeah.
He's out of control. You know his ass picks it up after because he realized Anya would pick it up. Yeah. Hassan, I'm so happy you are home and not in custody, not in the custody of the state. I agree. What is this? Le chemin américain ensemble compare le JPR Super Bowl et parler de nouveau de organisation du web français. This event is unlike anything that Americans are capable of doing. Make no mistake. Damn, 48,000 likes. Dude, I will always glaze France. Okay? I will always glaze France. Always. Speaking of burnt house, did you see the news about South Carolina judge? I did. This is my age-old take. You with French royalty.
My chat are assholes. They're calling you Slay and they're saying, Hassan, leave. Hassan looks out of place.
Yeah, we want just girls.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But you can girl out a bit.
Yeah, I'm tapped in on girly pop nation. What is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I doing it?
Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
All right.
Thank you.
Vibes yesterday with all the guests were great. I know. I realized how different things could be. As far as having not Austin and not Cutie Cinderella. Obviously, Will's fine. But having not Austin and not Cutie Cinderella as my podcast co-host and instead having the better half of the yard and also Pokimane was fantastic. It was basically like a 7-hour podcast. You know? Wow, 34-year-old man realizes streaming with your friends is fun, mind-blowing stuff. I know. Positive shout out on MSNBC last night. My friend was a producer and said they want you on this live stream. What is this?
I think the person who is doing it right in terms of someone who can sit down and talk about the news for 5 to 6 hours a day and build a consistent audience and engage with them politically and actually shift people who disagree with him into his camp is Hassan Piker. I think the streaming model is really interesting, something that people in the Democratic world don't engage with as much as they should. It is exploded on the right. So much of the people, even like Charlie Kirk, Tim Pool, they're just running streams for hours and hours a day, engaging with people directly. I also think the Pod Bros, the Pod Save America universe, has done a really good job. It's a really good example of how you can build talent, even in sort of a more corporate media environment. And the models are out there. They just need the funding, the attention, and the engagement. That's it. In my view.
Let's go. Some recognition. I'm gonna keep spamming about this hat, fam. Okay, keep doing it. What else was I gonna show you? There was another thing. Oh, there's this. The Women Love Women community is on fire, apparently.
Message for Hassan Piker. You need to stop. You have to stop because my girlfriend will not stop sending me thirst traps of you.
I apologize. My no disrespect. Wait, what do we say? What do we say, chat? How do we say bravo les lesbiennes? Is that how you say it? Bravo les lesbiennes. listen, I think I've solidified my position as a lover and defender. As a lover and defender of women. Shouts out to Catsup. Okay. Shouts out to the lesbians. I mean, we did it. We did the damn thing. We all did it. You know, I'm saying we and not even speaking French. You know what I mean? They're dunking on Cutie so hard. Watching Cutie Cinderella go through the 5 stages of grief with the life of a showgirl is so funny. Oh my God, that's crazy. Oh no, they're posterizing our girl, man. That's not good. Okay, March. Oh, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy, bro. March has been losing his mind at the Frogman in Portland. Okay, he just, I'll sneak a peek over there. He'll be sitting in the fucking lounge watching the Frogman and just cracking up over and over again throughout the goddamn day. Now, this guy obviously got pepper sprayed in the ass through his vent, and it turns out that didn't stop him. This is now a Portland icon, a Portland hero, if you will, and he's popping off, and March really loves him. Let's take a look at this new video. Look, he's a giver. But he's not selfish. He's a taker, too. Frogman is verse.
You didn't have one on standby? Nope. No. Okay. Can I see your airbag?
Can you tell me what happened when they put the mace on you?
Nothing. I kind of coughed a little, but that was about it. That's about as much as it did to me. Nothing else happened. It was just a little peppermint taste, you know. I've tasted spicier. I'm Mexican. What do you expect?
I'm Mexican. It's a little spicy. I'm Mexican. Hey.
Oh shit! Look at us.
Sure, actually. Sometimes, not always.
And is this how many nights have you been out here?
This shit not funny? What? Why? What could you possibly have? What could you possibly take issue with? Like, no, it's not funny. It's fucking hilarious. And it's awesome. Okay? The fuck do you mean this shit's not funny? So what are you talking about? It's amazing. That person's out there in the streets. You're not. Why are you fucking complaining about how they choose to conduct themselves? You know? Yeah, I know Fox News talked about Connor as well.
Acting.
This was an amazing 1 minute and 33 seconds where they were like, Connor is making waves, man. Connor is making waves. It's just, I no longer have to do anything. You know, my job here is done, folks. My job here is done. It's over. Okay. I'm retiring. Connor Eats Pants is now going to take my place. Okay. He's conducting himself so perfectly through this treacherous media landscape. You feel me? He's killing it. He's absolutely killing it. W. Connor. Hold on. Let's blast off even further. Let's blast off a little bit more. Joe Rogan of Fortnite. Yeah, he is the real Joe Rogan of the left, bro. Straight up. Unc tries fashion and casting.
Il a une petite tête. Show up. Et des grandes. Show up.
Well, you want me to stand up? Is that what you're saying?
She said stand up. Do a 360. Do a backflip.
I'm too broad. Like, it's this. So everything that I wear proportionally looks strange, I think.
But I feel you've really
How does he keep getting guests? Oh, Connor? I have no idea.
learned to play to your proportions.
I try to, but this is, you know,
Give us
this
like
is
a
what I got.
A 360?
360, little runway action.
Oh my god.
Do they know that we have like an audience over there? So he's doing this in front of everyone.
They're waving. Daddy!
Voila.
Oh my god, they're so cute.
Not know who I am at all. Like they're just like, oh, guy up there on the stage with all of my favorite content creators.
Yeah, this is the most no motion I've ever been in my whole life. Why did you lie about not farting on the plane? I didn't, but I did get farted on in the plane, and I actually have an apology. It turns out you can't smell it. Okay, whoever farted on me on the plane, that shit was fucked up. Okay, that was fucked up, brother. I am not going to watch From Waymo to ICE How Silicon Valley is Destroying Democracy by Michael Burns, a 40-minute video right now before we get to the goddamn news. Okay, I promise you this is not going to happen. No disrespect. Love Michael Burns. He's awesome. Okay, but this is just not happening right now. Okay, it's just not happening right now. But yeah, I didn't even get to talk about my experiences at GP3 in general, because we're moving on so fast from everything. But it is kind of crazy watching Pokimane do work as like do the influencer stuff and do it so professionally, as opposed to someone like myself where I just like kind of do these sorts of things and don't actually like promote it at all. So whatever gets clipped gets clipped, and then whatever doesn't get clipped, nobody really knows. Okay, she was so good. Like, I get it. That no wonder she's like an international superstar, because she's homies with all the French content creators. She was doing like videos with them, TikToks with them. I was not. I didn't do any of those things. I did not do any of those things at all. And you know, I don't know how I would be able to do those things if we're being real. I don't know, but yo, what's with the fit you were wearing? What do you mean? Too busy yelling at your chat in a hotel room? Yeah, that's true. Back when they allowed smoking on planes, they could circulate the air more often. We could have had smoking and farting on planes if it weren't for the woke talking about secondhand smoke. True. Didn't even do an IG post. Yeah, I know, bro. I know. Get off my dick, please. I know. I didn't do an IG post. I'm sorry. But I think you guys enjoyed it quite a bit, right? I mean, we had the total at peak was the total at peak was 1.5 million live concurrent viewers. I think we had like around 30K in here. I don't know how much eBay had, but we had I think I had like 30K, something like that, which is crazy for 35K peak for you. Oh, nice. Which is crazy for like how you know, eBay had only like 70K. Oh shit. Okay, when I saw eBay, he had like 20K, and that gave me a little bit more confidence, because I was like, okay, damn, if he's got like if he has, you know, around my range, then when I first started live streaming, I had like 15K and he had like 20K or something. So I was like, damn. I was there. There were so many EU non-sub chatters. It was awesome. When the race started, it popped off. Yeah, I saw your 1.3 million on your Twitch when the race was on. Don't know what you saw. I couldn't really check because it was too chaotic. But basically it was great. Like, it was a lot better. It was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. I thought we were gonna have like 100 people watching, because it's like the exact opposite time. Kaya down. It was the exact opposite time that I normally stream at. So for that reason, it was a crazy time. Like, it's literally, we ended the broadcast at the time that I normally start the broadcast at. We started the broadcast at like 3 a.m. Pacific time and ended it at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So for that reason, you know, it was always going to have like less viewership, but like ultimately it's not even like a view count Andy situation. You guys have to understand, like, I'm there for my friend. Okay. I'm there for my friend, and my goal is to try to make it as worthwhile as possible. My goal was to try and show this to the American audience, to the best of my ability, to show this event to the American audience, to show them like, and you know, how the Frenchies do it. Right. So, dude, what is going on? Super surprised to see you at the GP. Made me so happy that you made the connection with the French creators. I watch it practically every day because in France, we don't have the same freedom of speech as in the US. We don't have a French equivalent. Yeah. eBay had like 50K to 60K. Okay. A lot of French people are watching your stream. In my opinion, I'd rather watch the perspective on such an event than squeezy POV, especially since it's not the first go. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty good. Why didn't Cutie go to France? Because she can't fly. As a French fan, it was so much fun to watch you interact. Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad. We got to make inroads with the international audience, and we'll see. I mean, neither can you. No, yeah, good one, dude. Good one. We got dad jokes for days. What is this? Hassan and Pokey? What? Oh, yeah. The Albanians, along with the Chinese, make up 1/8 of the world's population. Enver Hoja. No, that's literally, that was the meme I was going to do as well. But I don't think people understand that quote. Like, they wouldn't have understood it. I was going to post that, but instead I posted the famous Kobe one. I was going to post this one instead, though. It's one of my favorite Enver Hoja quotes. It's not even like, he doesn't say that. He says, between us and the Chinese, we make up, socialism makes up 1/8 of the entire world or something. But the one thing I will say, aside from like my initial surprise about how spectacular of an event this was, the one thing I will say is it was a remarkable experience, and I did not think I would get so invested in racing. I did not realize that I would be so completely invested, especially by the end of it. You know what I mean? I was like locked in, dude. I was trying to host my face off. You know what I mean? I was broadcasting my freaking face off. But yeah, no, I did do this meme. Look, start watching Formula One. Yeah, I'm officially a racist for sure. I gotta get the sim kit. But it was great. All right, now let's watch Connor get mentioned from Fox News, Fox and Friends.
Pivot, Charlie. Across the aisle, you have Democrats who are still playing ridiculous games, trying to curry favor with young male voters. Politico reporting Newsom plays Fortnite. That's a video game. Talks Kamala Harris, Snoop Dogg, and how
Oh my God. Yeah, these guys know how to fucking talk to the youth. Snoop Dogg? Gaming is bad. Fortnite is silly. Saying Snoop Dogg? Like, these guys definitely know how to talk to the youth. They've got it down, dude. They've locked it down, baby. They've certainly locked it down. You can tell from from their audience profile, which of course happens to be 850-year-olds.
Lost young men, quoting from the article, referring to his irreverent memeing. The governor said of his party, Democrats are, quote, not the most, entertaining or humorous folks. So, yeah, because that is definitely true. But I'm thinking that maybe Gavin Newsom is not the answer to that.
Well, it's also, he's so unoriginal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even his press team trying to copy the way the president speaks. And
the average viewer age of a youthful 67. 67 is the youngest Fox News watcher.
The way he tweets, right? Like, they can't do anything on their own. And I'm sorry, but playing video games is sending men in the direction that we do not want as a country, right? The whole point of President Trump and this resurgence and the fact he's doing so with men is because he's doing manly things. He's going to sporting events. He's a business guy. He's building. He's creating. He's dreaming. He wants bigger. He's a doer, you know? And then what Gavin Newsom and Democrats are saying, just sit around and be like a beta man and play video games.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Between Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump, who's more of a manly man? Like, are we being for real? Like, all of the stuff that they could get Gavin Newsom on, caring too much about his hair or putting makeup on, Donald Trump does 1,000 times more than he does. You know what I mean? At least he can actually go outside and be physical, as opposed to Donald Trump, who is terrified of exerting any sort of power because he thinks he has a finite battery. He has a finite amount of time on this planet, and that his battery will drain too hard if he actually does anything remotely physical.
All day long, don't talk to girls, don't go out and build things, don't try to go out and get a job, don't do anything of significance, of importance.
One of the funniest things I've observed has been that the gamer right-wing contingency has actually experienced the exact same thing that like regular American right-wingers experience, where they get so horny for racism and they end up voting for the Republicans. And then those Republicans will immediately ruin whatever minimal amount of like happiness they derived from the world, from their regular existence. Obviously, the normal example of this is like taking away people's like opportunities for upward social mobility, their social safety nets, because they're like black people are using it as well. But like, I like that in the new generation of gamers, a lot of them have found themselves in the throes of right-wing commentary, and they vote for the Republicans now, if they vote at all, or they at least like defend the Republicans quite a bit. And what's really funny about that is that the Republicans, by also with the tariffs regime and also with their like consistent blaming video games for violence, are unironically doing more to take away their treats, and also with their deregulatory mechanisms are doing more to take away people's treats on the Republican side. So gamers are now also experiencing that. Will they actually learn from this lesson? Probably not. Probably not, but it is funny to observe, because like, think about it. Activision, Xbox, Microsoft Gaming merger was heavily scrutinized by Lena Khan at the time, and these dumb dipshits voted for the Trump administration. Obviously, that merger went through, and look at what Microsoft is doing now, raising the prices again to maintain this rent-seeking arrangement that you have with your video game library, and now gamers are very mad. Well, that's what happens when you deregulate. That's what happens when you don't actually go after trusts, okay? That's number one. Number two, Donald Trump's tariffs initiatives have absolutely made consoles and all these other like different periphery gaming items incredibly expensive. So you did that, gamers. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy that, okay? You did it. You voted for it. And you're getting exactly what you wanted. Now, wait till Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, as Cinemarxism also personally pointed out in the chat. And then the dumbfuck Republicans will really heighten the outrage and claim that they'll heighten the outrage and basically claim that Grand Theft Auto 6 is responsible for all the violence. And then they'll ban it. And then gamers will really learn a lesson, except they won't, because they're stupid. Sorry. Here is Lena Khan, once again, vindicated. In March 2023, Microsoft told the court Game Pass prices will not increase as a result of the Microsoft-Activision merger. On July 10th, 2023, a federal judge whose son works at Microsoft rejected the FTC's challenge to the merger. Once again, Lena Khan was right, okay? Lena Khan then, quote, retweets this, says, Microsoft's acquisition of Activision has been followed by significant price hikes and layoffs, harming both gamers and developers. As we've seen across sectors, increasing market consolidation and increasing prices go often hand in hand. As dominant firms become too big to care, they can make things worse for their customers without having to worry about the consequences. What happened? What happened? We told you this was going to happen. I literally interviewed Lena Khan on this issue. But obviously, gamers were too worried about, not having the same titty size that they're used to in their video games, or thinking that like Sweet Baby Ray Inc. or whatever the fuck was like ruining gaming by making characters queer. Adam decided to shit on you to Cuomo as he bodied Adam was so dumb.
My grandpa moved from Syria in the late 80s and started a business out of his car. He like slept.
Adam Mockler? Oh, he's coming after me? Okay, Adam. Okay. He wasn't talking like that when we linked up at the DNC. I mean, I don't really care. He's making waves. Mr. Midas Touch himself. What is the timestamp? Why'd you guys send me the whole video? A lot of my gamer friends choose not to vote because they don't feel a point, especially like a lot of gamers feel this way. Is there any other way to fight back? This is Adam Mockler. He's one of the up and coming. He's the Midas Touch guy. He does Midas Touch. He's one of the commentators on at Midas Touch. Don't know what he's talking to Gavin Newsom about, but
healing.
But I don't know why he would find himself in agreement with Cuomo over their mutual distaste for my politics or something. Have you looked at the upcoming EA acquisition by PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners? Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Going to be another spectacular moment for gamers because now Saudi Arabia, which reflects their politics in general, is going to be purchasing this franchise. So fantastic stuff. 1250 is when he asked him about you. Leftist master debater. He said he doesn't support protecting trans youth, like to argue with fascists. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, I guess. Why am I seeing so much Moss artwork lately? I don't know. All right. Well, is Trump still live? By the way, because in a little bit I have to do this like liberal panel. And Trump just now will speak to the DOJ about Maxwell pardon. Oh my God, he is really going nutty mode, dude. He's going off. Fantastic. Incredible. He is trying his fucking hardest, it seems. He's no longer live. He's trying his hardest to be like, he's trying his hardest to communicate to everyone that will listen that he is definitely a pedophilic associate of Jeffrey Epstein, it seems.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President's term today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back and said that they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say...
Haven't you? He's like, yeah, once we put her in a minimum security prison, everybody stopped talking. Everybody stopped talking about her. We put her in minimum security, and she gave a beautiful, some might say, the best eyewitness testimony. I forgot about it because everybody forgot about Jeffrey Epstein. Why are you bringing her back on? I will release her.
That I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look.
Like, what do you mean? You have to look into it to even entertain clemency for a serial convicted pedophile. This makes no sense. Okay? This makes no sense whatsoever. What are we talking about? Where is the confusion? Also, whenever he says, oh, I'll look into it, he means like he is looking into it, as in he wants to do it for the record.
Look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly. Yeah.
He did definitely know. That's bullshit. He's now all of a sudden willing to talk about healthcare. Oh, turns out when the Democrats offer even the slightest amount of pushback and make healthcare a major issue, Donald Trump is forced to concede on this issue. Interesting. Who could have been advocating for this? I wonder. Oh, that's right. Everybody on the fucking left.
Close to that number. And the way you stop them is not to give away, not to announce that you're giving everybody free health care, free this or that. But what that does is it affects the American people, because the American people are unable to get good health care. Obamacare has been a wreck, as you know, and to do that, we have to keep it propped up and do the best you can with it. It's a mess. But a lot of things are going on in that. You know, we talk about Hamas, then we talk about negotiations. And
What? You gotta be adversarial when they are as well. Wait, what? No, I'm not. I've been supporting the Democratic efforts on the shutdown this entire time. Wait, what did he say about Hamas?
We talk about Hamas, then we talk about negotiations that we have going on right now. We have a negotiation going on right now with the Democrats that could lead to very good things.
What kind of
and I'm talking about good things with regard to health care.
Are you speaking with Democratic leaders? What kind of negotiations?
Well, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. But we are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care. But it's
You'd rather talk about Israel, Palestine, than healthcare? I mean, it don't matter. It's a big problem because the Democrats have successfully made it a big problem. And the only way that they could have ever made it a big problem was if they did this, which is ironic because that was my argument for the first time that they could have done a shutdown, that they could have pushed for a shutdown. Okay? Some more from this press conference. A reporter, Israel has been arresting activists today. For instance, Greta Thunberg. She has an anger management problem. I think she should see a doctor. You can have her. Now, what's interesting about this is that, like, I've been following closely the Samud Flotilla apprehensions, and obviously all of the European leaders, all of the European countries have actually demanded the return of their citizens. There is one exception for all of the countries around the world that haven't demanded the return of their prisoners currently being held in an Israeli detention facility. And America is one of the countries that actually has not done so. Yeah. One of the executives of Progressive International, David Adler, who I have communicated with quite a bit, is currently apprehended by the Israeli government, and the American government has not made any demands for the return. Of course, that's unfortunate because the California senators happen to be two major dick riders of Israel, which is probably part of the reason why they're not even demanding that. Luckily, Ro Khanna has been taking the initiative. So shouts out to Ro Khanna. We'll give him his props because he deserves it. In any case, let's take a look at this.
A follow-up question on Israel. Israel government has been arresting and reporting activists that were traveling to Gaza. Today, Greta Thunberg, for instance, also some...
Well, she's just a troublemaker, you know. I mean, she's no longer into the environment, now she's into this. She's a troublemaker. She has an anger management problem. I think she should see a doctor. She needs anger. If you ever watch her, she's a young person. She's so angry. She's so crazy. Now, you can have her. She's just a troublemaker. Talked about that.
And follow-up question.
Yeah, making trouble for the big, beautiful, most moral nation state on the planet, Israel. A big troublemaker, hater. You can have her. It's like, luckily, she's not an American citizen, so she's not, you know, there's a totally different government that has to make those demands. But yeah, so obviously, this is also a big deal. A judge has blocked the National Guard troop deployment in Oregon. TrueAnon got a shout out, got a New York Times piece. The left has its rabbit holes. On the left-leaning podcast TrueAnon, three friends take a true crime approach to subjects often thought too risky for liberals to touch. Yeah, I have noticed that all of our boys, it's not an accident, all of our boys, all of our girls, The left is actually getting some significant looks in a way that they never have before by mainstream media that is trying to make up for lost time and trying to develop a better understanding of exactly why so many in our group of friends are having a long-lasting and very consistent impact on American politics, as opposed to the numerous other artificially boosted media engagements that they have created. You know, why is it that the TrueAnons and the Chapo Trap Houses and the Hassanavis of the world, or the Adam Friedland shows of the world, are actually making a dent in this media environment in a way that, like, liberal, in a way that independent liberal channels are not? I wonder why. Perhaps consistency and having a worldview anchored by a different ideological framework is perhaps one of those reasons. Who knows? Especially in a time when there's tremendous discontent with the way that neoliberalism has absolutely gutted and eviscerated people's way of existence. Netanyahu told Trump the Hamas statement was nothing to celebrate and that it didn't mean anything. U.S. official tells Barack Ravid. Trump fired back. I don't know why you're always so fucking negative. This is a win. Take it. Trump called this fake news, I suspect. I thought TrueAnon was a conservative podcast. No, man. What are you talking about? No, it's a fucking what? Yeah, it's conservative because Maoist third worldism is a conservative ideology. No, it's a liberal podcast, actually, as Brace Belden is liberal Hitler, as he likes to say. So it's actually a not even a conservative, but a liberal podcast. It's the only conservative anti-pedophile podcast out there. All the other conservative podcasts are pro-pedophilia. TrueAnon has kept its consistent anti-pedophilia message throughout the years.
Yeah. It was reported by Axios over the weekend that you had called Prime Minister Netanyahu, where you told him to stop being so negative and to take the win when it came to Hamas's response to that. Is that true? And
no, it's not true. He's been very positive. He's been very positive on the deal. Everybody is. I think every nation is. We have just about every nation working on this deal and trying to get it done. Something that you could say 3,000 years if you look at it.
Bro, he downloaded a new talking point, the 3,000-year one. I wonder who he's been talking to, because this is new. And it's not new if you're familiar with like pro-Israel talking points. They say that shit all the fucking time. It's nonsensical, but like I've never heard Donald Trump say that before. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about anything really. But this is a new message that someone told him to repeat. And I wonder who it is. I wonder if we can identify who told him the 3,000 years thing, because he thinks it's a really solid take, not realizing that like the 3,000 year statement actually makes it probably would make his base more angry at him, because like the Gen Z meta now is to constantly joke about how like, oh, this was promised to me 3,000 years ago. Making fun of the Zionist claim to Israel as a nation state that was given, that was a promise that was made to them 3,000 years ago, and it's a really stupid argument. Obviously, no one gives a shit. But interestingly enough, Donald Trump has now started saying that as well. Maybe he's been talking to Mike Fuckabee too much.
Certain ways, or you could say centuries, but this is a deal that incredibly everyone just came together. They all came together. No, Israel's been great. They've all been good, Caitlin.
And in the proposed peace plan.
Trump posted a TikTok on his channel telling young people to be grateful he knows he's flopping with parts of his base. Yeah, but that's not going to work, because as I've said over and over again, the one thing that you can't actually message around, the one thing that you can't actually convincingly message against is people's pockets hurting. If your pockets are hurting, they're hurting. No amount of like, you should feel good is going to make people feel grateful. they're not going to turn around. They're not going to fucking turn around and be like, well, I guess now that my president said it, the fact that 50% of my income directly goes to my rent is making me feel a lot better now. Here's the
all
TikTok.
of those young people of TikTok, I saved TikTok, so you owe me big, and now you're looking at me in the Oval Office, and someday one of you are going to be sitting right at this desk, and you're going to be doing
Oh my God, this is literally like he's becoming so lib-coded. I would expect this kind of like shitty messaging from the Democratic Party. This is not going to work at all. I can't begin to explain how little this will work. Oh my Lord, you should be grateful. Am I not inspirational? Am I not inspirational by the simple virtue of existing? Incredible stuff.
Great job also.
This is not going to work, bro. This is not going to work at all. The Brandonization is imminent. And this is what the Newsom is posting. What is this? Oh, is this the new Taylor Swift song that's like about Charlie XCX or something? This is the new meta. They're doing they did a Taylor Swift edit, acting as though they're besties, but your Newsom is saying like like Trump is talking shit. Trump is talking big shit. Yeah. Yeah, Trump does coke. Well, he does Sudafed. I'm not really tapped into the Taylor Swift stuff because I wasn't around. I was in France, so I haven't been paying too much attention. But like, white women have turned into the biggest critics of Taylor Swift all of a sudden. It's been very interesting to watch. My timeline is all just like former Swifties or people just like dunking on Taylor Swift. Talking about former Swifties, talking about how like Taylor Swift is now officially turning into like a MAGA person or whatever. It's been very interesting to experience. And I don't know exactly where to go with this. Like I feel my heart is for all the white women out there. My heart is for all the white women out there. I feel bad. What is this? I'm calling it now and I feel free to call this co-op. TLOA was intentional rage bait. I can't prove it yet, but someday I'll be vindicated. Who's ready for the She Made a Bad Album on Purpose discourse? Oh my God. I feel bad. I feel bad for Cutie. I feel it's so bad it literally disillusioned people. Yeah, I think like a lot of people are frustrated with Taylor Swift because they just like even her fans are frustrated with her. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's talk about this judge blocking the National Guard troop deployment in Oregon, saying there is no reason for there to be a troop deployment in Oregon and hitting the Trump admin with a TRO, temporary restraining order. But of course, it's, we'll see if it's actually going to work or not, because it doesn't seem like Trump gives a shit, and will try to push for a constitutional crisis at every step. So, that's where we're at right now. Let's take a look.
Overnight in a tense Oregon
and I gotta
hearing,
pee real
a federal
quick as
judge
well.
blocking President Trump's attempt to deploy members of the California National Guard into Portland, saying she was troubled by the Trump administration's attempt to circumvent an order she'd issued just a day earlier. Trump had already tried to send in Oregon National Guard troops to Portland. That was halted on Saturday. The administration then tried on Sunday to send the troops in from California. Then late last night, Judge Karen Immergant, a Trump appointee, issued a new, broader order prohibiting the administration from using federal control to send any state's National Guard into Oregon, and pressing the government's attorney, saying, quote, "You are an officer of the court. Do you believe that this is an appropriate way to deal with my order, or an order that a judge issues that you disagree with, or is that an appropriate mechanism to appeal as you have done?" Over the weekend, federal officers clashed with demonstrators at the ICE headquarters in Portland, firing pepper balls and flashbangs. Portland police say they did not observe any person or property crimes committed and no arrests were made. But the Trump administration insists violent criminals are destroying Portland and troops are necessary to protect federal assets and personnel. In a ruling Saturday, the judge wrote Portland's protests were not significantly violent or disruptive, and that Trump's description of them was simply untethered to the facts. That deploying the Oregon National Guard likely exceeded his constitutional authority.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh, it turns out I'm glad that there is still some semblance of order within the courts, and that Donald Trump's direct attacks against the judiciary has not shook many of these judges in the same way that these like justices at the Supreme Court are obviously totally corrupt. It's interesting to see when you have like Trump appointees that are obviously from a conservative background, or even all the way down to like Reagan era judges turning around and being like, dude, enough. You know what I mean? Like, this is our job. Our job is to literally put a check on what you're doing. And it's very obvious that you are leading the country into an incredibly unstable place that will have repercussions that are long lasting. Now, of course, the top slot is still overtaken by these Christ-cucked crypto fascists who don't care about anything other than appeasing the interests of their masters, whether it be the Heritage Foundation or the Federalist Society, or just like American capital in general. But this kind of stuff at least gives me a little bit of confidence that maybe, this is like basically the last line of defense. Now, of course, you should not sit around and wait for the courts to properly adjudicate and defend your constitutional rights. Like, you still need to show up. You still need to make a big fuss. You still need to showcase your discontent. And it works in unison. It works in tandem. You show up, you showcase your discontent, and then people are reminded that we are not obeying in advance to the wishes of this administration as they very clearly move in the direction of full autarky, full authoritarian control over every aspect of the American government.
State's Attorney General pushing back against the president.
As the president, you must have an actual facts based on reality, not social media or just your gut feeling if you want to mobilize the military.
Now, to be clear, the judge's ruling simply bans the president from sending the National Guard here to Portland. Portland's police chief has also pushed back against the National Guard here. He fears that it would just escalate crowd behavior. Of course, the Trump administration has appealed.
That's the other thing. Like, it's very obvious. The decision for Portland is significant because Portland is one of those places where they will push back. And I think Trump knows that. And that's the reason why, while most of the discontent has been fairly civil, they are trying to make a big deal out of it in an effort to lean into the Portland is on fire narratives. They want a confrontation. They want escalation. They want a confrontation worthy of some semblance of escalation that then turns into a much larger confrontation, and then they can justify the troop deployment to a larger percentage of the population. Now, Portland also is unique in the sense that it has drawn the ire of conservatives for many, many years at this point. For like the last decade, Portland has been considered this like Antifa safe haven, a complete like autonomous zone for radical anarchists and things of that nature. Portland is basically like the Jimmy Kimmel, if Jimmy Kimmel was like an anarchist. Portland has been the anarchist Jimmy Kimmel placeholder for a lot of conservatives. So there is more appetite for military intervention in Portland in the eyes of like many Republicans. And I have noticed that he's not doing this kind of stuff in red states because I think he also recognizes that if he were to pull this same shit in red states, then the red states would start also experiencing discontent and showing up, and he would start withering away his base of support. So it's not just about like punishing the liberals in general. He will inevitably punish anyone who is a naysayer, but it's clear that he's trying to do this. It's clear that he's trying to do this in like these liberal safe havens. And it's so crazy because this kind of political polarization coming from the top office, when you're supposed to be the president of all Americans and not just like a increasingly shrinking number of Americans with unlimited appetite for death and destruction that see you as a cult leader, that see you as this heaven's mandate receiving monarchic style figure. That's not how things are supposed to operate in this country. So as long as he keeps doing this stuff while not improving people's material circumstances, I think more and more people are going to get frustrated and be like, all right, enough with this tomfoolery. Fix the goddamn prices, big dog. And this has been my argument. This has been my argument from the jump. Am I supposed to get in? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm aware. I have to get in on a Zoom call to do a tech check right now, which is really. These guys are so funny. Hold on here. Okay. I have to do a Zoom call for this panel, and I'm joining right now to do a tech check real quick.
Of the truth, but also a humility to know when they may need correction. Nobody sees it all, knows it all.
I guess
so we have to have that. But I'm just saying,
the Zoom call currently has like the other panel that's taking place right now.
That was a very fast 20 minutes, and our time is up. I appreciate you, Anna Jane.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you.
I can barely hear the producer over. Oh, there it is. Okay, over the panel. But hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Hey, thanks, Dad. Let me just
We don't move until they tell us. We know.
Hello?
That's right. We're going to kick this off with a little call and response.
Okay, I can only hear the panel.
Hey, guys. Hello. Hi. All right, so repeat after me. You ready? I am an AI expert.
An AI expert. I am
an AI expert.
An AI expert.
Okay,
AI
well,
is not
I'm here.
destiny.
It's
I'm
not
on the tech
destiny.
check.
It is designed.
The panel is supposed to start in 30 minutes, so I don't know why they're.
It's not destiny.
Is not destiny.
Okay, I'm not gonna sit. I'll mute them for now, but I'm in the. Hold on. Tell them to hit you up. Okay. Do your affirmations is on? No, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt is on. This was the event that I was supposed to be on. Okay. Are you a lib now? Okay, guys, listen to me. Okay, listen to me. I am supposed to be on a panel today. Okay. And I was supposed to be on a panel at the Getty Museum. This is the panel. Okay. This isn't the actual panel. My panel starts at 2:50. Okay. It's supposed to start at 3 p.m. And the panel I'm on have a bunch of interesting guests. Interesting as in interesting politically. A lot of liberals. One of the founders of Bulwark, former conservative. Lev Parnas' son, Aaron Parnas. The Biden administration's Secretary of Press, Karine Jean-Pierre, and all these other people. The panel itself, the panel that I'm supposed to be on, is about the role misinformation plays on the internet. Yes, it's quiet because of Zoom. I know. I'm going to fix that. Don't worry. Okay. Is it a pay panel? No, it's not. why is it that everybody immediately thinks that I'm like doing this for fucking money purposes? No, I go on stuff like this. Oh my God, it automatically lowers my audio even when I fucking crank it up. Jesus Christ, it's so goddamn annoying. I wish I could like make sure that I could. I fucking hate Zoom so much. I go into, are you ending stream for the panel? No! Why would I end the stream for the panel? I'm literally doing it live. What the fuck? God damn, dude. Unc needs a day off. I need a month off, dude. That's what I need. I need a month off from this fucking chat. Okay. Please turn your audio louder. Thank you. I am going to Brian kill me. I'm 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 going to Brian kill me. Shut the fuck up, chat. There's nothing I can do. As long as I'm in this Zoom call, it's going to be lower. The audio is going to be low because Zoom automatically makes the audio lower and there is nothing I can do about it. Okay? There is nothing I can fucking do about it. You know this. You know this. We've done this before. It has happened before. It is what it fucking is. Okay? You didn't download the app? No, it doesn't matter. Even if you download the app, it doesn't matter. It just like automatically lowers my microphone. Okay? So it's going to be a little bit lower. It is what it is. Anyway. All right. Let's get back to the news coverage for now. As I was saying, while I'm waiting for, oh God, I'm going to actually let Kai out because I can't fucking stand her being in the background and like, and wanting attention as well. Okay. Okay. Up. Get out of here. Go. Get out of here. Go. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so annoyed with everything. I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep and this is not a good idea. Okay. All right. As I was saying, the Trump administration is not solving people's material realities, their actual problems, and doing all this fuck shit instead, doing all this destabilizing stuff instead, which means that there is still an audience for that, obviously, but that audience is increasingly shrinking. And the more people exhibit discontent, the more people get mad, the harder it will be for Trump to hold on to its governing coalition. And I don't mean like electorally. I mean just like instability is hard to keep up with. When you're the president, even if you are trying to make the country more fascist, for example, you still have these obligations. You have to make sure that you have your brown shirts, for example, because we don't have ideologically grounded fascist movement in this country. So you still need something to whip the base. And if all you're doing is throwing red meat to an increasingly smaller audience while not actually fixing these overwhelming problems that people are feeling, problems that pertain to the cost of living crisis, problems that pertain to healthcare, problems that pertain to shelter and how expensive it is, people slowly but surely are going to start recognizing that maybe the administration doesn't have their best interest in mind.
Yeah, it's a political loser, John. It's a political loser. Donald Trump may think it's a political winner, but it's a political loser. Oppose Trump deploying in a U.S. city, active duty U.S. military, 61%. The National Guard in particular, 58%. When you get 3 in 5 Americans agreeing on anything, you know if that is on the opposition side, it's a political loser. And among independents, who are, of course, that key block in the middle of the United States political electorate, we're talking about 2/3 of independents there and about who oppose the deployment of either active duty U.S. military or National Guard into U.S. cities.
What are the questions that people are asking, or what are the issues they see with these deployments?
Okay, look, I think it's that they don't buy Donald Trump's case for why these troops must go into the U.S. cities. So the New York Times essentially gave you a two-pronged little answer here, right? Trump may use the National Guard to intimidate rivals, or big city crime will spiral out of control if the troops don't go into cities.
type, change system, sounds, tab, communications, do nothing. Default is the reduce volume to 80%. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work. I've tried that. Okay? I've tried that. I promise you. It's very, very annoying. No matter what I do. It's just here, I'll try. Oh no, this is get help. That's not what I want. It's just not, it doesn't work. I'll try it again. But allow apps in Windows to use this device for audio, input volume. There's no like advanced. There's no, like, it's supposed to be at my audio is supposed to be at when I do this, it is supposed to be at this level, right? This level. I like it at 36. But if you noticed, the more I talk while I'm on Zoom, the more it lowers it back down to 21. And that's it. There's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, I know I cranked up the, you guys probably all cranked up your volume to readjust to my audio. So you probably, it blew out your ears for a second. Wrong sound settings. It's a Zoom setting in Zoom settings. I can't do that. There is no, I've tried that as well. It doesn't work. Like audio, browser built-in, background noise suppression, browser built-in noise suppression, audio profile, Zoom background. There's only two things I can do there: Zoom background noise removal or browser built-in noise suppression. I'm not going to download another app and an extension. Listen to Megaphonics. I can help you fix it, but it's a bit complex. No, chatter is wrong. It's a Windows audio setting, but it's not in the new settings app. It's in the legacy app. I can help you get to it. By default, Windows will lower or mute other sounds when it detects communication activity. How to turn this off? Right-click the speaker icon in the taskbar sounds. Wait, what is this? Right-click the speaker icon on the taskbar sounds. Go to the communications tab. Where is the communications tab though? Because I'm in system sound and there is no communications. There's only more sound settings. Oh, okay. Reduce volume to other sounds by 50%. Do nothing. Okay, let's see if this worked. If this worked, you're a legend. Okay. Oh my God, I think it worked. Oh my God, that initial chatter was right. I've tried doing this before. Oh, nope, it didn't work. Never mind. I did it and it didn't work. Look. I just did that. Okay. Do you see? It's still going down. Yeah, I did do that before. It didn't work. No, it didn't work. It's still going down. Yeah. It doesn't work. Ban that chatter. I'm not going to ban that chatter. Zoom setting, it's auto adjust the noise suppression. I mean, it didn't work. It didn't work for a hot second. No. That's got to be device firmware thing. Rodecaster probably has control over the input settings. I'll check Rodecaster settings. No, I don't think it's a Rodecaster issue. I think it's just like, I think it's just cooked no matter what happens. Yeah, Windows can automatically adjust the volume of different sounds when you're using your PC to place or receive phone calls, and I am on do nothing, and it still doesn't do it. You can't turn it up in OBS? No, it's already cranked up in OBS. Turn down desktop audio in OBS to match mic, then we can just up the audio. Yeah, Yeah, Zoom is just so ass. It literally Zoom and Microsoft, like all of these other like communications applications, they automatically will slide down your audio. It's very, very annoying. It's just really, really annoying. Did you just press? Oh my God, there's a chatter in here that said, did you press apply? Yes, dude, I did. As a matter of fact, I did. Okay. I did do that.
This conversation with AI, and I think
Anyway, I turned off the Zoom browser link and then turn it back on as well, but it's just not going to happen. It literally doesn't work. I've tried it before. It's even lower now. That's awesome. I love that. I love that it just like automatically decides it should be even lower than it was before. There's a flag available under Chrome Flags which specifically addresses the cause of this issue. Visit Chrome Flags, the address bar, then allow WebRTC to adjust input to select disabled. That solved the problem immediately for me. What? Where is the Chrome Flags? I feel like I have to wait and then look up. Don't allow applications to take exclusive control of the mic. No, but then that doesn't work because then all these other applications I'm using still need to use the microphone. Hold on. This might work actually. WebRTC. Allow WebRTC the... Oh, wait. Hold on. Got to relaunch.
My grandpa moved.
Okay.
But if you list out 40 issues,
begin with the
like
breaking
do we
news
need to
on
regulate
President
this?
Trump's plan to send the
Hold
National
on.
Guard to more U.S. cities. Now, last night you might have heard this. A judge blocked.
Hold on. I restarted everything. This might actually work. Hold on. Hopefully this cooks. This might actually work. Low key. This might literally be the meth. This might be the meta. Let's see. Okay. Oh my God, it worked. Oh my God, it worked. Bless you, chatter. Bless you. You are the legend. You are the legend. Oh my God, it fucking worked. Oh, let's go. W chatter. W chatter. Respect. Respect to that chatter. What was the name of the chatter? Chatters who helped? MN Max and Bilbo Baggins. I did it. It was me. Bilbo Baggins. Respect. Good job to the audio files. This has been a consistent nuisance in my life, and you did it. Now get a chatter to fix the overlays? Yeah, I know. Once we do that, it's game over. You know, unstoppable force. Unstoppable force. Okay. How long will the interview be? It's going to be an hour or even shorter than that. It's not going to be that long. I think the panel is already ending. So I think like my panel is going to either start or this is... Wait, is this the one?
Oh, we
Let's
good?
see.
Yes. Well, our next conversation is about what it means to be a hero in America in our current era.
No, that's not the one. Never mind. That's not my panel. If you need another kind of file, hit me up. What? Okay, don't be weird. Now put a fucking audio compressor in your fucking mic chain in OBS. What does that even mean? 2025 is the year of StreamF's gray boxes, auto adjusting mics. It is what it is, dude. It is what it is. Okay. We were doing Harry Emden. Harry Emden. Okay. God damn it. I'm going to cover this before I go on this panel. even if it kills me.
Loser. Donald Trump may think it's a political winner, but it's a political loser. Opposed Trump deploying in a U.S. city, active duty U.S. military, 61%. The National Guard in particular, 58%. When you get 3 in 5 Americans agreeing on anything, you know if that is on the opposition side, it's a political loser. And among independents, who are, of course, that key block in the middle of the United States political electorate, we're talking about 2/3 of independents there and about who oppose the deployment of either active duty U.S. military or National Guard into U.S. cities.
What are the questions that people are asking, or what are the issues they see with these deployments?
Okay, look, I think it's that they don't buy Donald Trump's case for why these troops must go into the U.S. cities. So the New York.
I think those numbers are still, the numbers on the support side are still unimaginably high. And obviously, in a competent, normal, democratic process, like, these numbers are incredible, and it should cause any administration to very quickly turn around and not do this, right? But we don't live in a normal government. We live in an abnormal government, and we live in abnormal times. And the very fact that there are still Republicans who are like, hell yeah, no, please kill some, they, thems in Portland, and it'll make me feel better, is insane to me. So about 39% are just like invested in shooting at anarchist English majors and stuff. Like, is that what's going on? Is that where we're at? That's what I'm supposed to believe? Yeah. Adam Johnson says, engaging with public opinion is useful, but I think it's important to understand that Trump and his close band of ideological confederates do not care about the public opinion. They believe that once they're done, it'll have little bearing on who's in the White House January 21st, 2029. Now, having said that, I don't fully agree with this. The reason why I don't fully agree with this is because while it's correct that the Trump administration doesn't care about public opinion all that much, the goal here for the population in general and for all of you is to get other people on board and make this as costly as possible. Make this as difficult a process as possible. When you make this a difficult process, when you don't obey in advance, for example, you cause the administration to reconsider. You cause the administration to think, okay, maybe we can't get away with this. Okay? That's how it works. That's it. That's why discontent is important. That's why discontent is extremely important. That's why protests are extremely important. No matter what the cost.
Times essentially gave you a two-pronged little answer here, right? Trump may use the National Guard to intimidate rivals, or big city crime will spiral out of control if the troops don't go into cities. What you see here is the majority that takes the case is that Trump may use the National Guard to intimidate political rivals at 51%. Just 42% of Americans agree with the Donald Trump stance that, in fact, big city crime will spiral out of control if the National Guard doesn't go into U.S. cities. So essentially what we're seeing here is Donald Trump's making a case, the Democratic opposition's making another case, and the Democratic opposition's case is winning here, and that is a big reason why what you see is you get about 3 in 5 Americans saying they don't want troops going into U.S. cities.
I cannot believe that 42% of Americans think big city crime will spiral out of control without the National Guard, and the only reason why so many Americans still, so many Americans polled still to this day believe this insanity is a direct consequence of under the Brandon administration, the liberal media, all of the local news broadcasters, and also the national news broadcasters being completely dominated by reactionary framing on crime and punishment. The notion that these cities are actually on fire. Okay? This kind of made up fear mongering has been incredibly effective in brain breaking your elderly relatives. This is something that I have actively pushed back against when Brandon was in charge, okay? And I talked about the crime panic narratives and how damaging that would be eventually. And it has been. I mean, I have all my own relatives that have fallen victim to the crime panic narratives, assuming that Democrats actually don't care about crime at all and that the only solution to crime is more aggressive apprehension initiatives, more aggressive detainment initiatives, which of course, when pushed to its logical limit, imply the utilization of lethal force in the hands of the American military against domestic enemies. And that's where we're at. That is precisely where we're at. We wouldn't have gotten to this point if even the liberal side, if the Democrat side on this argument wasn't also completely leaning into the crime panic narratives out of fears that this was far too good a message being presented by the Republicans.
You have another really interesting way at looking at this. President Trump seems uniquely focused on Portland, on Memphis, on these cities and crime there. What do voters think he should be focused on?
Okay, so if you saw the opening slide on this.
Proof on Biden. I believe it. I just want to know. Proof on Biden. The media coverage. Go back and look at my analysis and my criticism of the media coverage under the Biden administration about crime panic narratives in blue cities specifically. Mostly pushed by the right, but a lot of, like, if you look at San Francisco, for example, like a lot of the tech CEOs who before they actively before they openly became right wingers, right? They were also leaning into this idea that, like, George Soros backed woke prosecutors were actually letting criminals roam free in the streets of San Francisco and in major, like, Democrat-run cities. One of the best examples of this is, like, gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom's rehabilitation initiatives that sought to address the overfilling crisis that the California prisons had, in an effort to address the major crisis of having California penitentiaries overflowing with people that didn't really need to be there. He tried to get 75,000 prisoners released earlier than they normally would after they had, and there were numerous provisions on this. Like, I think it was, you had to have served 2/3 of your sentence, and you would obviously still be seen by a parole board that would see if you have actually rehabilitated or not, all this stuff. And yet, even liberals were very critical of Gavin Newsom and completely leaned into the bullshit framing. Claiming that he was just, like, releasing rapist pedophiles without any due process whatsoever. It was such endless bad faith argumentation that liberals were completely incapable of pushing back on. Here, this is another fantastic example of this, but with respect to ICE. Okay, Brian Schatz is the United States Senator from Hawaii. Okay, he says, why do we need snipers in our cities? Now, he said this on October 4th. Why are 6 masked men slamming a guy in a wheelchair in the ground? Why would an agent tackle a scared wife? Add the rhetoric of the president is increasingly manic and angry senior advisors, and we are at a fork in the road. Adam Johnson says, Brian, you supported doubling ICE's budget last year, backing what you described as a Republican border security bill. Given ICE's lawlessness, do you think in retrospect this was a wise idea? Now, to liberals, this probably comes across as an I told you so moment. Like, this is a cynical, radical leftist by the name of Adam Johnson who's just simply trying to dunk on a Democrat at a time when we need to be united. But this is a very important issue to address, because right now, we need to be on a defensive posture and we need to be united. We need to express solidarity with everyone, including liberals who are seeking to address some of the problems that this administration is engaging in. Having said that, however, it is important to make sure that liberals do address this dumb fuck behavior. Liberals do address the fact that they also leaned into the crime panic narratives, leaned into the narratives about immigrants constituting a significant national security threat, because they are the ones who allowed this to happen. And the reason why we have to address this crisis and the Democrats in power setting up the stage, setting up the standard for Donald Trump to dunk on, okay, is because if in a positive turn, Democrats do come back into power, they cannot repeat these issues. They cannot repeat the same things that they've done that led to this crisis to begin with. The same goes for every single issue. Same goes for like the bullshit anti-Semitism is exploding in college campuses narratives that Democrats leaned into leading up to the election cycle, because they also personally wanted to punish the naysayers. They also wanted to punish the campus protesters because they wanted to continue their allegiance with Israel as Israel was committing a genocide, right? It's completely ridiculous. And we have to do our very best to explain to people, like, if we don't reverse the trajectory, if Democrats actually hold any sort of office, we're cooked again. Next time, there is another competent Republican, a more competent Republican that comes in charge and takes over the government, and maybe a Tucker Carlson. Do you think this is a good use of your platform right now? Brian Schatz says, do you think meaningfully combating the forces of fascism require coherent and consistent counter politics and not nonstop triangulation and stupid gotchas that reinforce every racist MAGA premise? I think it does. And I think it will continue to do so moving forward. The border was a mess. Things are way worse now. And a part of what I was doing was to prevent us from landing there. Yes, the White House's cutesy triangulation gotcha paid zero political dividends, raised the salience of the issue in Republicans' favor, and now Dems have no coherent counterargument because they embraced all of the Republican central premises. Perhaps moving forward, this could be avoided. This is exactly what I was crying about over and over again in the lead up to the election. When Biden, before October 7, on October 6, as a matter of fact, unveiled his right-wing border bill, if you remember. And the reason why they did that was because they were responding to how far-right people had become on the issue of the border, on the issue of immigration. And the only reason why the broader public was more right-wing than ever before in the history of the United States of America on the issue of immigration in a nation that is comprised entirely of migrants was because the Republicans had dominated the narrative, with no counter messaging and no pushback whatsoever from the supposed left flank party. They didn't do that. They didn't actually take the initiative. They didn't actually follow through on their initial campaign promises. Biden made a significant amount of promises for his first 100 days of immigration, starting off the process of mass amnesty, right? They didn't do that. They didn't do any of that stuff. And there were people who were, why are you calling Dems left? No, I'm saying the Democratic Party is supposed to represent the left flank of American politics. I'm not saying that they are a leftist party or an anti-capitalist party at all. I'm saying that they are to the left of whatever the Republican Party represents. Okay? If you look at the Overton window, of course, if you look at like the Democratic Party's politics broadly, from some kind of like international standard, yes, of course, they are a center-right party, and the Republicans are a far-right party. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't leftist figures within this center-right party coalition. There are, right? The Democratic Party is currently ranging all the way from Zohran Mamdani to AOC down to the center-right figures and or the center-right expressions of politics that you see, such as leaning into the panicked, hysterical narratives that the Republicans have cultivated, such as immigrants constituting a national security threat. But they are a representative force of left flank of American politics. Yeah, they go all the way from Zohran Mamdani down to fucking John Fetterman. Okay?
Segment, right? It was, has Trump taken his eye off the ball? The American people believe, yes, John Berman, Donald Trump has taken his eye off the ball. There is too much focus on putting troops into U.S. cities. 52%, the majority of Americans agree that the Trump administration is focusing too much on that. Where do they want him to go? They want him to focus on lowering prices. 75% say there's too little focus on lowering prices. This is the reason that Donald Trump was put into office, was to lower prices. And at this particular point, 3 in 4 Americans say there is too little focus. Donald Trump is focusing on the wrong things, and they don't like the way he's going about it. And this, my friends, will tell the entire story if it holds a year from now, going into the midterm elections. If the Republicans lose control of the House, dare lose control of the Senate, it will be because they believe that Donald Trump has lost focus. He is not keeping his eye on the ball, and I
told you guys over and over again that this would happen eventually, okay? I didn't even think that it would happen this fast, but then again, I also did not think that Donald Trump would be this much of a force. I didn't think he would be this swift in ruining everything and breaking everything, okay? I thought it would have taken a little bit more time. So, yeah, my panel is supposed to be at 3, but it seems as though it's being pushed back, at least because like it being pushed. Because I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the panel on the side, and they're still going. They're still talking. The panel from before mine is still talking. Yeah, Donald Trump has been speed running his first year in office, and very clearly, this has been frustrating for a lot of people. And it's been so frustrating that even in the absence of good leadership from the Democratic Party, people have actually mobilized on their own. Okay? But yeah, this is a rare moment where I don't fully agree with Adam Johnson as far as like the Trump administration. I do agree with him when he says like the Trump administration doesn't care about popular opinion. But in general, every administration has to manage whatever kind of direction that they're taking. Okay? And even if the Donald Trump administration is very actively trying to undermine what remains of like constitutional protections in this country, okay, ultimately, if there is too much public discontent, too much public pressure, they're going to have a much harder time. Okay, I think my panel is up now. Hold on, because I see the people leaving. Yeah, Oscar Nunez, actor and comedian. Okay, yeah, this is the panel. This is definitely the panel.
Changing the furniture. Hi, everyone. I am thrilled to be back on TV with a new show this season. It's a science fiction show called The Paper, because clearly a world where people get their updates from an actual physical newspaper involves either an alternate dimension or time travel. Oh, how I wish we could time travel. Alas. This is a bipartisan organization. I think that's adorable. I'm just going to go off script for a second. How many people here think the blue state should secede at this point? He's not leaving. Taxation without representation. Sound familiar? That's what they're taxing us. Okay, back to this. Here we are, everybody. In our current reality, the news comes from different places, right? From your cousin's TikTok or a guy in his car with a ring light. Here's this thing. Some of these people, you know that guy? Some of these people are doing the fact-based, bias-free reporting that the pundits on cable news are either incapable of or are not able to deliver. Some are breaking down Supreme Court rules for the general public who may not be fluent in legalese or more than just a clickbait headline. Imagine your nephew with a selfie stick being the first to report Watergate. Others are out there advocating for specific interpretations of what is happening in our world, putting their slant or spin on the headlines, yuck, trying to make sense of the barrage of news alerts for their dedicated audiences and like-minded individuals.
Shut the fuck up about the audio being
Is it advocacy?
Okay.
Is it activism?
Shut up.
Depending on who is watching, you'll get a different answer to these questions. I guess that's why we're here. So in 2025, everybody with a phone is a reporter. Everybody with a mic is a correspondent. Everybody with an uncle on Facebook is suddenly an expert on everything. Oh my God, it's dizzying. Just reading it is dizzying. And we haven't even touched on what happens when your local anchor is created by ChatGPT. We have I'm going off script. We have a friend of ours. He's a very smart guy. He's on Chat GPT, and he's a little addicted to it. And we laugh about it, but it's a little scary, and he kind of knows it, and he's on it all the time. Anyway, it's weird. Okay, the real question isn't who's talking, it's who you can trust, how we can get out of our own echo chambers, and that's why we're here this afternoon. Leading this conversation, please give a warm welcome to award-winning journalist and founder of News Not News, Jessica Yellen.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be talking on this. Yes, you can't hear the audio.
How are you? Thank you.
From the audience. I don't know.
Thank you. And it's an honor to be here today. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this conversation we're about to have. When I started my career in network news, there were clear voices of authority and strict editorial standards.
This is not for you.
Fact-checking, corrections.
Like the audio on our side is shit because it's not for broadcasting for us. Okay, you just get to see it because I was supposed to be in that room, but I'm not.
This year, for the first time ever, more Americans will get their news from social media than from any other news source. Does that give you anxiety? Yeah, me too, and it's how I make my living. I left network news a decade ago because I saw that the news was broken. I started doing the news on Instagram so early that Instagram didn't even officially support video at the time, and they used my videos to train newsrooms around the world on how to tell the news. It caught on, but not inside newsrooms. Instead, there has been an explosion of independent news creators reaching huge audiences with no gatekeepers. We decide what counts as news. It's powerful, it brings in new perspectives, but it is also accelerating a trust crisis that is big enough, in my view, to threaten democracy. On social media, there are no editorial standards. There's no fact-checking. There are no required corrections. Algorithms reward outrage, and deep-pocketed actors, both foreign and domestic, are paying to boost content that is designed to divide us. In short, we're in an information war. So now I'm about to talk to 4 people who are on the front lines of that war, and they're each navigating it in their own way. First, Aaron Parnas, a lawyer turned social media journalist. I guess we're doing them all at once. Okay, Karine Jean-Pierre, former White House press secretary, who spent years battling misinformation from the podium. Sarah Longwell, political strategist and publisher of the center-right media company, The Bulwark. And joining us on Zoom, Hassan Piker. He is one of the most watched political streamers on Twitch. Let's bring them on stage and on screen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You did great.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks to everybody. And I'm going to start with the big picture and with you, Sarah.
Oh.
You came up through traditional Republican politics, and then you built The Bulwark. If you don't already follow it, you must. When Trump emerged, you also run focus groups around the country. When it comes to legacy media, would you tell us what broke and why has trust shifted from institutions to individuals?
Okay, so we have like no time, so can't walk you through the entire reason that legacy media broke down. Here's what I can tell you very quickly. The internet happened, and then advertising incentives changed. The media companies tried to figure out how to grapple with this. They chased eyeballs in different ways, and so all of that came to a head. And look, in a liberal democracy, it made, like, part of what happened is you started to see things like Jeff Bezos buys the Washington Post, okay? Just a billionaire guy, buys a legacy media organization, and basically keeps his hands off. Lets reporters do their thing, and like, good, we've still got media. But in an authoritarian regime, or in an illiberal society, where you've got the government that will lean on people who have other things they want to do. So if Jeff Bezos wants to go to Mars and he needs a good relationship with Trump, or Paramount wants a merger and they need a good relationship with Trump, suddenly they make big changes. And they no longer just do sort of benevolent news for the good of people. And as a result, they lose trust with their audiences. And that has given rise to a new, I don't even know what you would call it, but like independent media, right? And like, what were we? We were a bunch of Republicans, me, Tim Miller, J.V. Last, Bill Kristol. You might remember Bill Kristol. I'm sure you all hated him. But what were we? We were just a bunch of people who used to be traditional Republicans who saw this Donald Trump destroy our party, destroy trust, poison people, and said, okay, well, we're going to launch an independent media company that pushes back from a, not even a right or left perspective, but like an up and down, a truth versus lies, a liberal versus illiberal perspective. And what happens is the audience, then they know exactly where you're coming from. It's not like neutral journalism. They know who we are. We're people who were Republicans who oppose Trump because of all of the damage he's doing to our democracy, and they understand who we are. And that ability, people talk about authenticity, it's a big buzzword right now. But what they mean is, I know where you come from. I know who you are. I know what you're saying. When you say it, I know you mean it because you blew up your life to do this. And so that is the new, I think, trend in media is going to be individuals that people trust, not brands.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Erin, you're one of those individuals people trust. You have built a massive following breaking down news, politics, and the law on TikTok and other platforms. I know that you're careful to call yourself a journalist, not a creator, even though you're not usually out doing original reporting. So why is that distinction important to you and your audience? And should there be standards or even an accreditation system for online voices so people can tell who's credible?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I will push back a little bit on that front. I mean, I think I started out doing a lot of unoriginal reporting, but now today, even in a government shutdown, I've gotten over 500 emails in the past week alone from federal employees giving me tips, allowing me to do that firsthand reporting myself. And so I think right now the biggest problem in American society is the fact that media literacy, ethics, and civics aren't taught in every school across the country. And because of that, you have these kind of voids, these deserts of information, and social media has really filled those voids. Social media, in my view, has been the most democratizing force for journalism that we've ever seen. And I think, to your point, it has its pros, but it also has its cons. And right now we're seeing a rise in misinformation and disinformation. And we can talk about social media regulation and regulating big tech, but that's not my job, that's Congress's. My job is to just tell people the facts and the truth. And I look at myself in a little differently from a traditional creator in the sense that I come at it from a legal perspective first. I was a lawyer first. And so the ethics that I abide by are those that I would in a courtroom. Nothing I would put out on TikTok, I wouldn't put in front of a judge in a courtroom. If I lied to a judge, I would be disbarred. If I lied on TikTok, to me, I should lose my platform. And so I hold myself to a higher standard. Not everyone does. And I think ultimately it's going to be a problem for many years to come. I don't have a solution, though.
We'll discuss. I think you need an accreditation system. Hassan, it is such a pleasure to meet you virtually. You are live on Twitch for 7 hours every day, including, I think, right now as you're joining us. Yes?
Yeah.
You're on. I could look at you here. Your audience sees you as their newsroom. They don't want traditional credentials. They want connection. Why do you think that your viewers trust you when they've tuned out legacy media? And how do you think about verifying whatever it is you share in real time?
I'm going to agree with both the panelists that spoke already on the mainstream role and slightly push back a little bit as well in terms of making sure that I have the same safeguards or the same responsibility to earnestly and honestly communicate exactly what's going on. That's something that's very important to me. And I know that some people, I think, for partisan reasons, will play fast and loose with the truth, but in some ways, I think that is exactly the reason why mainstream media is currently facing this major crisis of credibility. And I do think that although the Bulwark does decent commentary in many instances, I have a friend that's on Bulwark as well, someone who I've had on my broadcast many times. I think Bill Kristol himself might have even played a role in this credibility crisis that mainstream media is facing, partially because of the Iraq War. I think that was an early reason for why a lot of people started exhibiting distrust for mainstream media, as the State Department positions were reflected without any sort of any sort of pushback and any sort of criticism. And then I think after the failure of the quote unquote war on terror, another point of crisis for the media was actually when the media broadly, mainstream media and legacy publishers were broadly doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing, reflecting truthfully on what the epidemiologists were suggesting at a time of crisis when there was a novel coronavirus. But unfortunately, in that time frame, when a lot of people felt even more alienated and more isolated than ever before, they chose to look for bias confirmation and go to outlets on the independent side that were not invested in the truth or invested in the protection of large subsects of American society, and were simply invested in bias confirmation. So in that situation, I think there was a bad reason for why people moved away from these mainstream publications. And then I would say that the last version of this that goes back to what I was talking about with the Iraq War has been the Israel-Palestine coverage that we've seen from outlets such as the New York Times and even the BBC and numerous other Western publications. I think this drew a major wedge between the independent space that was trying to do their very best and obviously there's bad faith actors that were tasked with that were spreading misinformation, as there always are. But I would say from my perspective, what I saw as someone who actually relies on real, reliable, objective journalism to be able to do my job as a political commentator, I noticed that a lot of people were moving away from what they were seeing in real time on social media, just mass atrocities taking place. And the way that the media engaged with this truth was oftentimes to contextualize what Israel was doing in a way that really frustrated a lot of people. And I think that was I would say the last dying breath of legacy institutions and legacy publishers in the eyes of the broader public.
Okay, I think that there's a large conversation to be had about that last topic, and people on both sides of this fight think that the media has also been skewed away from them, which is the very point of why we're all up here and why there are so many voices out there. Karina, I want to turn to you because Hassan brought up misinformation, and you fought misinformation every day from the White House podium, sometimes coming from outlets that were sitting right there in the briefing room. Would you help us understand this kind of misinformation chaos that you faced and how the information we receive from the White House has evolved now that there are actually MAGA influencers inside the briefing room?
So a couple of things. Yes, misinformation was insane when we were in the White House, and it was incredibly difficult to beat that back. And something that Hassan said that really rings true is something happened around COVID where it just grew by 100%, where you would just continuously get misinformation. And it was tough. One of the things that we were able to do was get trusted voices in local communities to try to beat back what was happening when it came to COVID and making sure people were getting vaccines and understanding what was happening in their communities and the importance of taking care of themselves and their communities and their household. So that was a really big part, was those trusted voices. But it was hard. I mean, it was almost impossible to push back on the misinformation. And so what I think you need is you need a plan, you need strategy. I think you need independent journalism because that's really key and important. And you have to make sure that we're building those independent journalism sources because we need critical investigation on the journalism side. For us, in order to support that, they need clicks, they need subscriptions, they need donations. So trusted voices, independent journalism that's supported, but it was hard. I mean, I can't really go into the story in complete detail, but I had misinformation about me that was out there, that it was living and breathing in the right-wing sphere. And I didn't really care about it at first, but then it just started to get so big that the mainstream media started reaching out and asking, hey, I know this can't be true, but now it's going viral on social media.
And if you don't address it,
don't address it. So then we had to get independent organizations to really stop what was happening. But it is very difficult. And what is happening now is us as individuals, we need to be our own fact checkers. That's where we are right now.
And you're referring to the fact that it helps to have an ecosystem reflect back the accurate information.
Yeah, that's why independent journalism is incredibly important right now.
Erin, we don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to ask you for a tight answer if you don't mind. I have had my account on Instagram throttled, frozen. People say they can't find me. Meantime, conspiracy theories accounts explode with, new followers. These platforms say they don't shadow ban or favor accounts, but what has your experience been?
So I actually started doing this work in February of 2022 when my family in Ukraine and Russia invaded Ukraine. And I started reporting what my family was experiencing on the ground. And for 6 months, all I did every single day, 15 videos a day, Ukraine. And then in October of 2022, that account was permanently banned by TikTok. I never got it back. It got permanently banned because it was mass reported by Russian trolls on the platform. The Russian government was actively hiring these troll farms to mass report accounts like mine. And to this day, TikTok has never even acknowledged that the account was ever in existence. So I see it every day. Good luck saying Jeffrey Epstein on the platform today. But ultimately, you just have to work with the confines that you have. And unfortunately, that's the world we're living in.
That is the world we're living in. Sarah, let's look to the world we'll be living in 2028. How do you think about reaching people? There'll be a pretty big election that year. How do you think about reaching people with news they trust before that election?
I don't know. Here's the thing. However bad you think it is, I want you to understand how much worse it's going to get. I've now been through six, election cycles, or it's been a decade of Trump. People who are alive right now who are coming into politics, they think that's normal politics, right? They're used to it. And so, I think we should not relitigate. There's a difference between people getting something wrong. Like a lot of people got things around COVID wrong because it was an emergency. There's a difference between people getting things wrong and people actively trying to divide this country, tear us down, break us apart for their own power structure. I don't know. I don't know if Trump's going to leave. He's very old, actuarial tables being what they are. It's not like he can't just look, if he was 50, we'd be in a much different situation. It would be a lot scarier. That's just true. But he has taught an entire party and an entire wave of political entrepreneurs and communicators that the way he does politics is an advantageous way to do politics. And so you are going to need corresponding entrepreneurs to come from the pro-democracy side, and you're going to need a big, broad pro-democracy coalition that's not always going to agree with each other about everything. And if you just lean into those fractures all the time, you will tear each other apart and you will lose. And the only way that you are going to beat back the illiberal thing that's happening is if everybody on the liberal side, meaning small L liberal, and the pro-democracy side, figure out how to push back against that instead of trying to tear each other apart.
All right, I guess we're going to do one quick lightning round for all these savvy communicators. Unbelievably, it will be the holidays before we know it. What is the headline for your year-end wrap-up for 2025? Hassan, I'll start with you.
What?
Expand on the democratic institutions all the way down to the workplace, because I think we have a lot more numbers than the capitalist elite do. And they recognize that, which is precisely the reason why they're trying to tamper with flows of information. The TikTok purchase, I think, is a great example of that as well. And we have to combat fascism whichever way we can.
Compound headline. I love those too. Karine, what would your headline be for 2025?
I mean, so many things to say. I think the most important thing is we can't be silent in this moment. They are expecting us to be fearful. They are expecting us to be scared. And we cannot be silent. There's just too much at risk. There's democracy, there's communities, vulnerable communities, people that we care about, and we cannot be silent.
Sarah?
Look, the rise of independent media is just a fundamental understanding that like the institutions aren't coming to save us. They're not coming to save you. And so like people are going to have to do it themselves. They're going to have to build new things and they're going to have to, speak out and get in the streets and do those things because what we're dealing with is really scary. But the rise of independent media is a reflection of what needs to happen in our politics. People got to stop looking like a deer in headlights. Everybody needs to stop standing back. It's not just speaking out. It's like, don't get tired. Authoritarians want you tired because then you won't fight back. And people aren't fighting back. The big institutions aren't fighting back. The politicians aren't fighting back. Demand that they fight back. It's your country too.
Yeah. And Aaron, you are the king of saying it short and to the point. What's your 2025 headline?
My headline's the rise of Gen Z. We're coming of age. We're using our voices. We're taking to the streets. And truthfully, if anyone wants to try to stop us or silence us, it won't work. I like that.
Okay. And I'd say that mine is, as the free press comes under attack, democracy is beginning to erode. Those two things go hand in hand. And in order to strengthen democracy, we need to strengthen the press.
True.
Thanks to all of you for this. We'll be looking for your headlines at the end of the year, but for now, you're all used to take a quick coffee break. You're asked to come back to the auditorium after the short break in programming. Thank you. Thanks, Hassan.
Okay, I think that's it. All right, that was short and sweet. That was a brief wave to the screen. I mean, yeah, what am I supposed to do? It's a little bit, somewhat awkward. There was not a lot of opportunity. There was not a lot of opportunity to speak there, but I think with the limited amount of time I had, I tried to be as impactful as possible and mention the importance of trusted institutions and how they have betrayed the confidence of the broader public. I think, Hasanabi is a lib, really? That was a panel that was united in their. That was a panel that's united in their perspective when it comes to the one singular issue that that no one seems to talk about. That is an incredibly important one, actually. So. You did a great job of doing it in a Dua Lipa shirt with that hat on and sending me. Yeah. Because, the reality of the matter is that this is something that I've thought about quite a bit because my job requires good media coverage. Okay. My job requires these trusted institutions to continue sending journalists out there and to actually correctly report on exactly what's going on. Okay. And for that reason, I can't let these mainstream institutions fall apart, right? I think it's incredibly important. But the unfortunate reality is that the credibility of mainstream press has taken major hits throughout the years, some for good reason, some for bad reason. The good reason, obviously, is the Iraq War. That was a deserved hit to its credibility. The other good reason, the current one, is Gaza, Israel, Palestine, the genocide that's going on. Having said that, there was an instance that was a major crisis in communication, a major crisis for the credibility of institutions, even though they were actually doing the right thing, which was trying to accurately report on all of the changes that were taking place during COVID, trying to abide by the best standards and the restrictions that were presented by epidemiologists when there was unprecedented amounts of chaos taking place due to a novel virus that was killing people, right? That killed millions of people in the United States of America. Right now, we are facing an unprecedented crisis in American democracy, theoretical democracy, whatever you want to call it, right? And We need better mainstream resources. We need real journalism more than ever. Okay? We need real journalism more than ever. On the one hand, it's good that we have some democratization of the media as far as social media goes, but that is precisely the reason why. That is precisely the reason why they are trying to actively stamp out discontent in social media. Okay, why not mention no attention to climate change? What about climate change? You're right. I should have brought up climate change. I should have brought up immigration. I should have brought up the erosion of the democratic institutions that are defending people. I should have actually taken over the panel and started talking about every single issue. What do you want me to do? I had to literally work within the confines of the fucking within the confines of this short panel. It's not wrong, though. There is a major crisis in misinformation right now. Like, the democratization of the media has been great for truthful voices that are doing earnest reporting, honest coverage at a time when it's needed. People like myself, right? Because I am not a figure that would ever exist in traditional media. And I don't mean that, I don't mean like, oh, because I wear a Dua Lipa t-shirt or whatever. I mean like the things that I advocate for have no place within the confines of mainstream media, okay? Especially in contemporary American politics. However, the democratization of the media has allowed someone like myself to exist and even have a larger audience than many of these other traditional outlets, right? So in the issue of Israel-Palestine, I've been able to make an impact in my own little way, in my own little corner of the internet, and many others have as well. But the reality of the matter is, we need mainstream outlets to also continue honest reporting, objective reporting, and not fall behind or not fall mercy to the whims of whatever the administration wants, especially as it pertains to foreign policy. Because people nowadays can see the truth for themselves, and then when that truth does not match the narratives coming from mainstream resources, they end up losing confidence. They end up losing confidence for good reason. And instead of addressing that conflict, what the administration is trying to do, it seems, is to actively stamp out political discontent and purchase what remains of like social media platforms that aren't completely tethered to the American State Department project, and also forcibly whip them into shape as well. And that's where we're at. That's why the CBS purchase by the Ellison fail son is consequential, putting Barry Weiss in charge of the editorial team there. Obviously, one of the things that I'm going to be talking about today, that's deliberate. It's done for a real purpose. It's done to make CBS more pro-Israel. It's done to make CBS more right-wing and more pro-Trump. And the same goes for the elder Ellison, Larry Ellison, playing a formative role in the purchase of TikTok. A decision that was made specifically so that TikTok would be more pro-Israel as well. Anyway, Jake Sherman reports, Trump also said he'd be willing to cut a healthcare deal with the Democrats. I'm a Republican, but I want to see healthcare much more so than the Democrats, Trump said. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. But it's good that he's like recognizing this. Since that was such a short panel, if anyone wants to read more, I wrote a 20-page long thesis on the topic earlier this year. Yeah, dude, I'm not going to read the come on. Nathan Harrison. I can't read the 20-page dissertation you wrote on the topic of misinformation growing. That's crazy. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to it. Let's lock in. Judge temporarily blocks Trump admin from sending National Guard to Portland.
Blocked the president once again from sending troops to Portland, Oregon. Protests have grown there since he announced the plan, but they are confined to just one city block. Troops are being sent to Chicago, where there is growing outrage over immigration raids that have temporarily swept up U.S. citizens. Usher Qureshi's in Broadview. That's a Chicago suburb with the latest. Usher, good to see you. What can you tell us?
Good morning. Well, after days of federal immigration raids and counter protests in Chicago, the Trump administration over the weekend said it would deploy 300 Illinois National Guard troops here over objections from the state's Democratic governor. Protests against immigration and customs enforcement turned ugly in and around Chicago over the weekend, as people faced off with law enforcement and tension at times boiled over into physical altercations following days of ICE raids and counter demonstrations.
Acts of violence are occurring on a regular basis.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on Sunday called Chicago a war zone. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a Democrat, said federal agents were to blame.
They want mayhem on the ground. They want to create the war zone so that they can send in even more troops.
When asked about his plan to deploy hundreds of Illinois National Guard troops in the Windy City, President Trump cited violent crime.
People shot and killed. And Pritzker gets up and says what a wonderful place it is. They need help.
City data shows at least 270 people have died in Chicago shooting incidents since January, but that's down substantially from this time last year. Anti-ICE protesters also hit the streets in Portland, Oregon over the weekend.
That's right. Good job, boys.
Where they faced off last night with federal officers in front of the ICE headquarters in Portland after a Trump-appointed federal judge temporarily.
Yeah, I mean, this is from before. This is from October 6th. Yeah, that's something that he's entertained quite a bit. So
barred the president from deploying any National Guard troops. At least one protester was arrested, and our affiliate KOIN says
that's today. Oh, October. I thought it was September 6th. Wait, that's from today? Oh yeah, that is today. Oh my God, my brain is so doo-doo.
So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. But if it was necessary.
Still on French time, jet lag, brother. Dog, this is worse than jet lag. This is worse than jet lag because I'm not only am I on French time, but I also don't have any sleep whatsoever. I've been go for the past week, non-fucking stop, every single day, sleeping for like 3 hours max, and not getting good enough sleep at all. So I have jet lag and sleep debt. Stop getting COVID so much, dude. What? COVID? The fuck are you talking about? That's what happens when going to parties in France. Yeah, real party. I partied so hardy. The fuck? It's funny that you're saying that, especially because I was live at the time when parties would be happening.
So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd.
Yeah.
Bullets and smoke were used. The same judge had already ruled against activating Oregon-based Guard members in Portland a day earlier. However, in what appeared to be an attempt to circumvent that decision, the Trump administration Sunday reassigned roughly 200 California National Guard troops to Portland. And Texas's Republican governor confirmed he'd authorized the federal use of 200 troops in several cities, including Portland.
Portland is burning to the ground. You have agitated.
It's so crazy, bro. It's just, what are we doing? Whenever I hear the president just fucking routinely lie like this, in a way that's so transparently untrue, because he's not even like trying to massage the narrative. He's just actively coming out and being like, nah, the sky is actually not blue. It's a different color. It's a different color you've never seen before. It's green. Everybody knows the sky is green. It's not blue. You don't need oxygen for survival. Everyone knows you don't need to breathe. You can just see, I'm doing it right now. It's just, he can just sit there and be like, they're burning down Portland. Portland is on fire. And because so many people are never going to go to Portland, and so many people are already operating under the assumption that Portland is on fire, they just look to this dumbass and go, yeah, he's right. He's so right. Portland is on fire. Please, Mr. President, kill those people that are lighting Portland on fire.
Insurrectionists.
Now, we should mention that our producer in Portland told us that.
Also, COVID is surging right now and still killing the disabling people out there, dude. Wait, what the fuck does that have to do with? Okay. Then why are you being a dickhead about it? Don't act like you were making an important point about, being more careful about COVID. You just said stop getting COVID so much. If it's serious, then you're betraying the seriousness of the crisis that you're trying to communicate.
Before those clashes at the ICE facility, the city was calm and those protests have been contained to a single block. The city even hosted its annual marathon yesterday. As for Illinois, the governor says his state is among the places Texas troops are now expected to deploy. Nate?
Usher, thank you.
Meanwhile, in Chicago, sources telling Fox News police there were told to actually stand down on helping ICE agents who are in danger. Mike Tobin.
How dare they? How dare they? Look at this narrative, by the way. They're presenting this as though like Portland is so captured by socialist anarchist radicals that even the administrators in Portland are trying to stop ICE from operating. Or sorry, Chicago as well. Same thing. It's the same principle. Sorry. It's the same. And in both of these places, obviously, the truth is that local law enforcement is actually, to a certain degree, helping ICE. They're not directly communicating with one another, but they certainly are helping with not the apprehensions, but personally brutalizing the protesters themselves. No, it's not Chirac, it's not Lib Portland's. No, it doesn't matter. Both of these places are getting the same reception. People are mad, people are angry, and Trump wants to send the troops to both of these places. I think there's a viral surge of streamers being mean to be specifically. Be careful. Okay, well, you're testing it.
Has the story for us, all the details. Hi, Mike.
And Dana, we've got a lot of rank and file Chicago police officers behind the scenes telling us that they are outraged that the stand down order went out to them after federal agents were attacked. The order appears to have come through a communication from the chief of patrol over the communication through the Office of Emergency Management.
I love this guy's neck.
And communication reading. No units will respond to this. Multiple police sources have confirmed to us the message is authentic and it is backed up by audio of the stand down order.
They brought the most thumb-like guy they possibly could so that he doesn't get hit in the crossfire, you know? Because, like, cops will take one look at that man and go, oh, you're one of us, right? You are the most thumb-like individual we could find at Fox News.
And again, per the chief of patrol, we have all the units that per 999, chief of patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location. All right, and 999, just to confirm, 39th Police in Kedzie, they were saying that they were being surrounded by that large crowd, and they were requesting the police were not sending. I'm waving off all the cars heading to 39th Police in Kedzie.
Again, those are the orders we're being given.
In an official statement, CPD says officers did respond. Writing, quote, CPD responded to the scene to document the incident. CPD officers were also on the scene to maintain safety and traffic control. Now, chaos was triggered when, according to federal prosecutors, 2 individuals used their cars to ram the cars of Border Patrol agents. One of the agents shot a driver of one attacking vehicle. Those attackers are now charged federally. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says the facts need to play out.
We don't have a lot of facts. Remember, these are the same folks who killed a person, unarmed person, just a couple of weeks ago in Franklin Park. At first, they said that the officer had been threatened with his life. The reality of it and the truth of it has now come out, and that wasn't the case. They killed somebody. They are just putting out their propaganda, and then we've got to later determine what actually happened.
I like that federal law enforcement operates exactly the same way that local law enforcement does, but because the federal law enforcement is acting against the interests of, like, the state officials, they have to recognize that cops lie. But, of course, only the federal ones, right? Only the federal ones. You know, like, no disrespect to the big boy here, but, like, yeah, they're cops. They're doing what cops do. They're doing exactly what, I mean, especially Chicago Police Department, which is, like, notorious for its cruelty. They're doing that. Do they have body cams? ICE does not. Local law enforcement does. Not that it has been a significant limiter of their brutality. They find ways around that all the time. Plus, there's not really a major accountability structure anyway, with the exception of, like, public pushback and protests. But, yes, ICE is even less restrained than the minimal restraints that exist for local law enforcement after years and years of Black Lives Matter protests. ICE do have cams as to how these 2 people were allowed to go free. This one's in Chicago, had them anyway. No, they don't always have it. What is this? Oh my God. That's such a funny look. Most major metropolises have a civilian complaint review board, which of course is limited in effectiveness. There's no equivalent for federal law enforcement. Yeah, Big Brother's always watching, baby.
.300 Illinois National Guardsmen have now been called up for a 2-month deployment to Chicago. What you're looking at right now is video of the scene that triggered that particular radio call. Tear gas and pepper balls were deployed into the crowd after agents said they were attacked. But meantime, as I just mentioned, 300 Illinois National Guardsmen have been called up for a 2-month deployment to Chicago to protect federal personnel and property. Also, Texas National Guardsmen, 400 of them, have been called up for deployment to both Illinois, to Portland, and an undetermined location. Back to you, Dana.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube.
This escalates.
J.B. Pritzker says Trump is sending in troop as a pretext for the troops to Illinois, as a pretext for the Insurrection Act, is true. it is interesting that this admin, in all of its cruelty and in all of its incompetence, is forcing at least like some of the more competent administrators to finally push back with. I mean, there's significant limits here to what they can do, but they're trying to do it nonetheless. I don't know. I don't know how much you can trust local law enforcement or state law enforcement, but like, is that what it's going to get down to? You got the National Guard duking it out with like state troopers and shit? Because where does this go? And I don't even know if the state troopers or state and local law enforcement would actually do that, would actually entertain pushing back against the National Guard anyway. What I do know, however, is that it's not going anywhere good. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere good anytime soon. However, there has been a funny instance of cops receiving, local law enforcement receiving a fraction of the pain that they push on the regular population. There's a video out there of, I think, ICE tear gassing local cops or something. Is this it? Is this the one? Chicago police officer was seen with watery eyes, coughing and struggling to breathe after what could have been tear gas or smoke was released this afternoon at 39 in Kedzie, where a protest against ICE was taking place.
Understand? They just tear gas you. They don't give a fuck about you either. Why are you protecting them?
Come on, man.
It's us. Tomorrow it's you.
That's so funny. It's just, you know, that's some hog-on-hog violence right there, baby. These guys are usually the first to deploy the fucking tear gas, so I'm surprised. I'm surprised to watch this in action, you know? They don't give a fuck about you either. Yeah, it's true.
Come on, man. Y'all, you know that was fucked up. Y'all know that was fucked up. Y'all know that was fucked up.
Garcia! Trail! Wake up! Stand up! Wake up!
Right. You're gonna wake up! We're gonna go this way, and then we'll see.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
Y'all don't get. None of us get paid enough for this.
Hey, it's time to get up!
Job
Get up
and
now.
arrest ICE!
Wake up!
They shot a Chicagoan
Wake
today!
up.
Arrest ICE!
Wake up! Wake up!
That'd be pretty sick if they started arresting ICE. Have you seen the crusty gnome crying about ICE not being able to piss? Hilarious. Yes, I covered it the other day. Now imagine if Antifa did this. I mean, they'd kill him. Chicagoans standing up and running ICE out. Oh, I saw this one as well. This video is great. Here it is. Southside Chicago, Windy City residents run off immigration agents to save a man mid-abduction on 63rd and Costner Avenue.
La migra!
Legally, Chicago Police Department can arrest federal agents if they're breaking the law. I mean, but they are. They are. They're doing it all the time. This is one of the interesting parts of like, this is one of the things that I've talked about with respect to what like ICE is doing. Okay. A lot of what they're doing is on shaky legal grounds, right? Like, of course, they are abiding by the wishes of the federal government, but the warrantless apprehensions and the fact that like they're engaging in the what the ACLU calls is operations in constitution-free zones 100 miles from, airports, all international airports, and 100 miles from every border that the United States has, which of course means a population of 70% of Americans, like an area of operation. Technically, what they're doing in many of these instances, like regular detainment for after racial profiling, like all of that is illegal. And they know it's on shaky legal ground. And that's precisely the reason why they're doing it while they're masked. Okay? They lie about being cops. They're not cops. Okay? ICE is not, they're not police. Like, it doesn't matter if they're wearing a vest that says police and then underneath it says ICE. Like, they're not. They're ICE. They're Customs and Border Patrol. And it is actually an illegal detention when they apprehend an American citizen. It's in this weird legal gray area. Obviously, it's morally fucked up, morally repulsive, but it's a legal gray area, which is precisely why, like, DRS of this sort, until they decide to further prosecute this, are sometimes successful. Like, the difference between, I said this with like Mohsen Mahdawi, right? The difference between the Korean American or the Korean student in Colombia and Mahmoud Khalil or Mohsen Mahdawi was the fact that they actually apprehended those two, whereas they couldn't apprehend the other person because they just couldn't find her, right? They tried to, but I believe she wasn't at her apartment. So they just could not find her. And then a judge protected her. A judge said, yeah, you don't have any fucking right to do this. And she got away. She got away scot-free because the administration was doing something that was fucked up and illegal. So in this circumstance, like, these kinds of incidents, or any kind of like additional hurdle, what they consider to be obstruction of justice, or an impediment to like police activity or whatever they choose to call it, can actually literally allow people to not fall victim to an unjust process. Oh, nice. Breaking news. Burbank Airport will have no air traffic controllers this evening. FAA warns. Thanks, real Donald Trump. Burbank Airport has 0 air traffic controllers from 4:15 to 10 p.m. today because of your government shutdown. Fucking awesome, dude. That's awesome. I love that.
No!
Fucking asshole. Look at this asshole. What do you recommend people do when you see ICE apprehending someone? Look, be safe. I'm not, it's a choose your own destiny type adventure. Definitely record, though. Definitely film them. That I can say. Like, look at this. Look at how crazy this is. This motherfucker's masked, has no indication. You have no way to know if this person is just a fucking kidnapper or actually working for the federal law enforcement agencies. No identification whatsoever. Just a bunch of incompetent racists living out their racist fantasies. He is, motherfucker. Ha ha ha.
Get off him!
Yeah. You won't be laughing when you see this kind of vigilante action, seemingly vigilante action, when it happens to you or a loved one, for the record. That's crazy. They're just straight up putting their bodies in between.
Let him go!
Causing them in real time to make the decision, is it worth it? Like, is it worth it? And then I guess they just fucking give up. By the way, again, unmarked vehicle, plainclothes cop, potentially. We don't know. But they in real time go, okay, is it fucking worth it? Is it worth it to continue with this apprehension and detainment? Now, the worst aspect of this kind of like cruelty for the sake of cruelty methods that you're seeing from ICE is that, like, there are going to be instances where they might be actually, in one of the rare instances, they might be actually trying to apprehend like a pedophile. You know what I mean? But this is what happens when the overwhelming majority of people that you're fucking kidnapping without going through the proper process, okay, is that people end up losing confidence in federal law enforcement, especially for ICE in general. It makes total sense for them to not have any confidence. That is precisely the reason why they have to make sure that they're following the letter of the law every step of the way. This is in some ways, this is no different than like having Kash Patel be the director of the fucking FBI and come out without a proper investigation with information that later is proven to be untrue. You can't do that. Every time you do that, you cause people to lose confidence. And a big part of law enforcement is authority. A big part of being able to conduct law enforcement action is by instilling a sense of confidence in these institutions and therefore have the authority to be able to command people. When people lose confidence, when the public broadly loses confidence in a law enforcement agency, these kinds of things will inevitably happen. That's what happens. That's what happens when, like, you know, the overwhelming majority of people that you are apprehending are not actually doing any sort of serious crimes whatsoever. Stuff like this will become common. I stood my ground, but it was the police raiding my house. This is from December 8th, 2023. Diamonds Ford thought she was shooting at an intruder when Florida cops raided her home without knocking. Then she was charged with attempted murder. Like, there's a reason why law enforcement can't behave as a bunch of jackbooted thugs of the state. Yeah, her charges were dropped, by the way, chatters. What a lot of cops don't realize is they're putting themselves in harm's way when they let this kind of shit fly. They think they are unstoppable. They think that they will remain unaccountable, not realizing that this kind of unaccountable, unstoppable violence that happens all over the country is not only going to frustrate people for understandable reasons, but it's actually going to cause them to lose complete confidence in these institutions that are supposed to be instruments of justice. And eventually that leads to complete chaos, complete anarchy. This kind of shit doesn't happen in countries where people have the utmost confidence in law enforcement, where they believe that, like, well, you know, there's some standards. It's not going to be a bunch of like random racist dickheads running around with masks apprehending people because they think that the dude has too much melanin, you know? If that's the overall attitude, then of course people are going to try and do de-arrests, which is a concept that is otherwise unheard of. But because the arrests themselves are being done to people broadly that have not done any sort of significant crimes, the assumption from most Americans is, here it is, yet another person that's being falsely kidnapped. Here's J.B. Pritzker saying Trump is sending troops as a pretext for the Insurrection Act.
Of violence is targeted and intentional and premeditated. The Trump administration is following a playbook: cause chaos, create fear and confusion, make it seem like peaceful protesters are a mob by firing gas pellets and tear gas canisters at them. Why? To create the pretext for invoking the Insurrection Act so that he can send...
I mean, I will say this is funny for like any position of authority to say, because like that's precisely how local law enforcement also operates. I just... You know, he's on the right side of this issue, but like, that is literally what cops do. It's just like funny to see a governor talk about law enforcement in this way, you know, like he's a Hasanabi head or something. Cause like that is precisely what local cops do as well.
Military troops to our city. He wants to justify and normalize the presence of armed soldiers under his direct command.
Illinois and the city of Chicago are filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration over deployments of National Guard troops. Joining us now to comment, White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller. My question was whether the administration still plans to abide by that judge's order restricting any National Guard troops from being sent to Oregon.
Well, the administration will abide by the ruling insofar as it affects the covered parties. But there are also many other options the president has to deploy federal resources and assets under the U.S. military to Portland. But I was making the point that under federal law, Section Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has the authority anytime he believes federal resources are insufficient to federalize the National Guard to carry out a mission necessary for public safety. So it's important to understand that in Portland, ICE officers have been subjected to over 100 nights of terrorist assault, doxing, murder threats.
I do think that this is going to lose its usefulness in the same way that like anti-Semitism lost its usefulness, right? Because it was deployed so unevenly and with such great frequency. Whenever someone was like, hey, man, I think what Israel's doing is like pretty fucked up, they'd be like, you anti-Semite. Yeah, after maybe the first 10 times, people started going, what do you mean? You say that all the time. You say that to everything. And it's like, if you're going to apply terrorism and doxing charges to, for example, a person demanding that an ICE agent reveal their identity, like where an apprehension, another kidnapping is happening, and someone, a civilian that is a witness to this incident goes, hey, what's your badge number? And you go, wow, that's doxing. That's a prosecutable act. You keep doing that, people are going to go, you say that about everything, big dog. Fuck you mean this is doxing and this is a violent act? The fuck? No, it's called demanding proper identification from a public servant that is unaccountable, that has tremendous amounts of power over regular citizens.
Violent attack and every other means imaginable to try to overturn the results of the last election through violence. The most important point I want to make today is that the number 1 and 2 items in the GOP platform in 2024 were to turn back the border invasion and carry out the largest deportation program in American history. Since Inauguration Day, there's been an orchestrated campaign of terrorism and violence against ICE officers. Of course, we saw the recent sniper attack against ICE officers. They're publishing their families' photos online. They're threatening them with murder. They're threatening them with death. And they're physically attacking them in the street each and every day. And yet, shamefully, the mayor and governor in Portland and Oregon have refused to render aid, leaving ICE officers to street fight every single night against these terrorists.
You make the claim of terrorist assaults and violence attack over 100 nights, and yet the judge overseeing this case says that that's untethered from reality. And local officials on the ground say that Trump's assertion of what's happening is in Portland, that it's war-ravaged and burning to the ground, is far from true. I looked at the police data, and police have made something like 70 total arrests since June, and there are no reports of buildings being burned to the ground. The White House cited a guillotine being rolled out as like a public display of rebellion, but there isn't actually a threat that these demonstrators are going to overthrow the government. Are you concerned that that response weakens your legal argument?
No, they are actually, as we speak, trying to overthrow the core law enforcement function of the federal government. Boris, this is, I think, where we're talking past each other. When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night to come and go from their building, when they try to exit in a vehicle, when they are swarmed and surrounded and they try to tip the vehicle over, when people bring weapons to an ICE facility to try to engage in direct violent assault against ICE officers, what is the purpose? It is to prevent immigration and customs enforcement from carrying out the mission the American people elected them to do.
You make the case that these are terrorists, but in what we've seen thus far, the actual incidents of people inciting violence and not responding to law enforcement attempting to disperse them are not an open rebellion. I mean, again, you make this characterization as though they're terrorists, and I do wonder if it is.
That's awesome. That's awesome that even the CNN host, I mean, he's one of the better ones for sure, but even he's just like, dude, you call everybody a terrorist. I don't think this is terrorism at all. Are people now the equivalent of Antifa, like Palestinians or Hamas? Yes. There is a severe crisis in the Israelification of American society. It's almost like it's looping back around. Israel was very America coded, and now we are becoming more Israel coded. Because, I mean, Israel is accelerated in its fascist endeavor. It's more advanced in its fascism than America is as it stands currently.
Potentially a problem in the future for Republicans if a Democratic president someday calls the National Guard to a red state over what they see as open rebellion, but is what amounts to a demonstration that gets rowdy. I mean, is that not a
and
fear
they're
of
posting
yours?
pictures of their kids because it's a demonstration, and they have a sniper on top of a building firing a high-caliber rifle at a nice facility because it's a demonstration. And
yeah. Listen, little bro, there's a difference between those things, okay, and what the average person is doing. No matter how hard you try to fucking lump it all together, it's not working.
they are engaged in a vehicle ramming
But the
attacks,
National Guard isn't
coordinated
being
ramming
sent to
attacks
Texas.
because it's a
The National Guard
demonstration.
isn't being sent to Dallas where that sniper was.
Because the Dallas Police Department and the governor of Texas, well, you walked right into that one, have responded.
Oh, wow, you have activated my trap card. He also comes across like such a whiny fucking loser.
To every call for assistance and help. They gave a stand-down order in Chicago, and they gave a stand-down order in Portland. Do you realize that there's 11,000 federal law enforcement officers in Oregon? That's larger than the size of the FBI. Local and state police are resourced to deal with this kind of riotous assembly, but they have refused. They've been given a stand-down order. So
they've
we
arrested
need
some
to use
70
National
people
Guard and
since
federal
June.
troops
They've been
to
arresting
fill in
folks
that
on the
breach.
ground. They've been arresting folks on the ground. They refute what you're saying outright.
We literally have the 911 audio of the stand-down order in Chicago, and we have documented inside of DHS every single unresponded to 911 call over the recent weeks and months.
Do you have...
Damn. Local police incompetence is harming ICE. That's awesome. Also, I heard some other stuff about this. Apparently, ICE was making like fake calls as well. Like making calls that were ridiculous to 911 themselves.
Evidence that this campaign is coordinated? Are you planning charges on anyone who is actually coordinating said campaign?
Yes. So since the Joint Terrorism Task Force has gotten involved.
Yeah, here, this is why it's so funny. ICE has been making phony calls to 911 and filling false police reports in Chicago in a deliberate scheme to antagonize local law enforcement. Any of us would get arrested for this.
You are watching as Broadview police respond to a 911 call, claiming someone was tampering with a gate at the ICE detention facility there. Body camera footage obtained by the CBS News Chicago investigators shows...
They're so bad. Dude, that's illegal. That's literally illegal. That is... I guess add that on to numerous other illegal things that ICE is doing. That is awesome. Fucking awesome.
Several Broadview police officers respond to an alleged homeland security threat. The gate in question is where ICE takes detained immigrants for processing.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Not much.
How are you?
Good. We got a call of subjects trying to climb over the fence or something.
No,
not since we've been here.
But when police arrive, all they find is two people and a camera. Our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building with a CBS security guard by his side.
Okay, and you guys didn't tamper with any of the...
No, man. The 911 call claiming someone was tampering with the gate came from an ICE agent. According to this incident report, an ICE agent called police for help.
But he can't go and try to force his way into that.
Yeah. I guess they're just doing the same. They're doing the same shit that they've always done. We're just like, oh, excuse me. Excuse me. There's a nuisance. 911. I'm annoyed and scared. Come here right now, please.
Okay, so the guy in the booth.
Just says no, the guy's just recording the camera.
Do you believe that that was a false call?
I do. Again, it was just our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building.
In your mind, bogus.
Yes. It's disturbing. It's ridiculous.
That's
Broadview
awesome.
Police Chief Thomas Mills says this is just one of several questionable 911 calls his police department has received from ICE at this facility recently. This same detention center has become the site of at least 3 other incidents involving federal agents who are accused of hitting people with cars, shooting projectiles, and using chemical agents on journalists, including a CBS reporter last Sunday.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Amazing. It's funny that they've antagonized two groups that under normal circumstances would absolutely be on board. Okay? Local law enforcement and local news. These guys are, in most circumstances, totally on board with like police brutality and things of that nature. They will do decent coverage every now and then, but the ICE is so fucking annoying and such a disruptive force that they have lost local news and local law enforcement in the process. Amazing. That is amazing. I never thought I would see the fucking day. Anyway, that obviously hasn't stopped Stephen Miller from crying about local law enforcement not following every little fake call that ICE is making.
We found that there are common funding, that there is common financing, that there are meeting points, that is
what you're
carefully
describing as
orchestrated,
actual
that is carefully
terrorism.
integrated.
Yes. And you are going to charge.
They're making posts on Instagram that hurt the feelings of our fat agents. They're calling them fat. Okay. This is fat shaming. They're demonstrating fat phobia. They're not abiding by standpoint theory. ICE is a protected group. It's very disappointing. And I keep calling the cops every time. I keep calling them. I say, 911. They say, 911, what's your emergency? I say, they're doing body fascism. They're doing body fascism. They're calling my big, beautiful agents fat. Can you please arrest them? And then the cops hang up. I hate that. I hate that. Why are the cops hanging up? You're supposed to stop every nuisance. What are these guys getting paid for?
Someone with terrorism.
Well, so I would like to.
I bet you would like to, but that
I would like to. He said, I bet you would like to. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. Why can't I call them terrorists? Why can't I? I think they're terrorizing me. They keep saying my wife is fucking Elon Musk. That is terrorizing. That's a terroristic threat. Okay? And if my wife were to fuck Elon Musk in a hypothetical scenario, I would be in the room sitting on the cuck chair. Okay? And if that's my kink, you should stop kink shaming me. That's terrorism.
Doesn't mean you're going to, are you?
No. What I'm saying to you is the Congress has statutes on seditious conspiracy, on insurrection, on impeding federal law enforcement. The domestic terrorism statute in Congress obviously needs to be strengthened. For domestic terrorism in Congress, we have foreign terrorism charges. We have an entire patchwork of federal law.
Like that, what he's saying right there is so terrifying because the First Amendment has made it so that we do not have the same vague standard of terrorism applied at the domestic level. Now, there are issues with that for sure, especially when you have like when you have the Klan wreaking havoc and there's been no active way to disassemble militia movements such as that one. But of course, this administration is trying to change that in the opposite direction, not going after like active groups that are causing a significant amount of harm, okay? But instead, they're going after decentralized movements of people expressing discontent towards this administration, basically making the Klan the federal law enforcement apparatus. Incredible stuff. But once again, the First Amendment actually stops this kind of domestic terrorism designation from actually happening because it is seen as any sort of formation that is anti-capitalist or anti-fascist, even if it was a organized unit. That in and of itself is First Amendment protected. Individuals that engage in criminal behavior beyond that can be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, but you can't just like actively decide that anti-fascism is actually a terrorist organization, and whoever we call anti-fascists, we have now declared a member of a terrorist organization, and go after them.
To the extent that there are charges that apply, we will charge them in every single case. You have impeding law enforcement, you have seditious conspiracy, you have a conspiracy to deprive of rights, you have assault against law enforcement officers. But all of this meets the hallmark, textbook definitions of domestic terrorism. Boris, I just want you, just for a moment, to step back and think about what we're talking about here.
Oh my God, this is so Israel. Not much amazes me anymore about the modern GOP, but Back the Blue went out the window stunningly fast after the feds built their own goon squads accountable only to them. Those cops aren't cops, they're Antifa with badges. Look at them. Yeah, cops are Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu is Hamas. The IDF is Hamas. It's the same. That is the same energy. It's the exact same energy. So fucking stupid.
President Trump ran and won a campaign on turning back the border invasion.
You've said
that
several times, Stephen. We have a limited amount of time, so let me ask you. Let me ask you about the governor of Illinois.
He declared a no-go zone for ICE.
We are set to hear
How is that
from
not insurrection?
Stephen, we're set to hear from J.B. Pritzker in just moments. He says that you're attempting to inflame tensions and create a war zone. He also says that you are profiling, that you're targeting black and brown people, even those who turn out to be here legally. What's your response?
Well, first of all, the black people in Chicago are thrilled that we're getting the illegal aliens out of their communities who are stealing their housing, jobs, and resources. You've seen the video of the town halls during the Biden administration where black citizens who are natives of Chicago were begging to have the illegals taken out of their country. What they've done is they've created a system of law.
Yeah, black people love the administration. They love having their cities, their neighborhoods terrorized by even less accountable, even more militarized law enforcement, under the suspicion that they are, because of their blackness, that they might be a Haitian migrant. Okay, that's definitely what they were demanding. The black communities were like, please, we want helicopter raids now. It's not enough that the Chicago Police Department was beating the fuck out of our neighbors. It's just we want more.
In Chicago, in Illinois, where illegal aliens have far more rights than American citizens. If an American citizen, for example, commits a crime of sexual predation against a child, they'll cooperate with the FBI. If an illegal alien commits a crime of sexual predation against a child, that illegal alien will be shielded in an ICE no-go zone.
What are you talking about? This is so stupid. I can't believe they're still making this idiotic argument, dude. Yeah, definitely. When a Guatemalan migrant does something heinous like that, basically they get away with it scot-free because the cops are like, we're woke. Yeah, the only migrants that engage in sexual predation on U.S. soil that get away scot-free are migrants from Israel. Okay, if you want to talk about an active threat to children, the only time I've seen that shit happen is when you got like a Israeli cybersecurity guy who just openly tells law enforcement, like, hey, by the way, I know you guys caught me in a sting operation trying to fuck a child, okay? But I'm Israeli and I'm actually going to be leaving for Israel very soon. Please let me go. Not the first time such an incident has taken place, by the way.
I ask you the question, what is the right term to describe a local official declaring a no-go zone for ICE? Would you tolerate it for FBI, ATF, DEA? No, you would not. But there's an effort to delegitimize the core function of the federal government of enforcing our immigration laws.
No. I think the delegitimization of the core function of federal law enforcement is not coming from people like myself. This is the same idiotic argument that, like, Kamala Harris dead enders actually advanced against people like myself, saying like, oh, it's your fault that she lost. It's like, no, it's your actions, dumbass. It's your actions, Stephen Miller. It's your lack of interest in